In the blink of an eye, a week has passed. The three boys have initially mastered the essentials of carrying rocks and climbing mountains, and they can climb up once a day. They have improved a lot. Compared with the beginning, they could not climb up. Now, they can reach the top. All three climbed to the top. When they reached the top of the mountain, they exhaled and smiled. They are relieved that the first step goal is completed. Finally, he did not live up to his grandfather's expectations, nor did he embarrass himself. Ah, so comfortable. Luffy lay down. The wind at the top of the mountain was gentle. He was too lazy to look at the distant scenery. There was nothing to see. Rest is the key point. Grandpa must have other requirements. A minute of rest is a minute. Ace and Sabo did not lie down and rest like Luffy. They opened their hands. The tired sweat kept slipping. The two stood together, staring into the distance. The scenery is beautiful. The endless forest is outside the ocean. The sea, you can see a little. The faintly fluorescent sea level has a wave from time to time, which seems to be a fish swimming on it, and occasionally jumps up, causing the slightest wave. Below is the forest, the dense jungle, and another world. It was not at the same level as what they had experienced before. The jungle below was even more dangerous. The cliff is very high. Ace looked down for a long time and saw a little trace. It seems that, here, someone used to be like them, standing here, looking ahead. What? Take another look. It's amazing. Ace seems to have discovered something amazing. Stepping back, looking in horror at the cliff. He went back, kept going back. Sabo didn't know why, and asked Ace, "What's wrong?" Ace. Ace pointed ahead, without speaking. Sabo looked and reacted the same way he did, backing away, terrified. The reaction of the two attracted Luffy to come, and he walked over to watch. After watching for a long time, I didn't see a 258. The little eyes blinked, and he turned to Ace and asked, "What are you afraid of?" Ace and Sabo pointed to that place. Luffy looked again, but didn't see anything. He lowered his head to study, but he didn't find a person coming from behind. Grandpa saw Luffy squatting down to look at the ground, and using his detective skills, he had to see something, otherwise he would be laughed at. I have to fit in with the group and not be different from them. He lowered his head, tapped the ground with his fingers, and looked for a long time, but didn't see anything. Ready to ask back, he wants to know the answer. Ass, take the brunt. People flew out. Below is the cliff. He turned his head stiffly, and saw his great-grandfather who was waving and smiling at him. His lips were squirming, as if to say, "Let's go." The rapid acceleration sent Luffy falling, unable to hold for a second. Immediately afterwards, there were continuous screams. What? Come down. Falling down the cliff, the height of terror, my great-grandfather really kicked. Completely disregarding the consequences, he went down as soon as he went down. Whether he was dead or alive was not within the scope of Grandpa's thinking. Ace and Sabo choked up. They knew this was going to happen. The top of the mountain is not the safest place. On the contrary, here is the most dangerous place. The cliff was specially prepared for them. Those who exercised here before had to jump off the cliff. The traces were still there, traces that could not be erased, and the two of them could probably see it at a glance. Luffy, silly boy, looked at it for a long time, but didn't see why. You should be kicked out. Don't be afraid. Grandpa is very gentle and won't do anything to you. Chen Qingtian said with a smile. Come on, who will come next? Both of them retreated one after another, neither wanting to jump off. They saw Luffy's tragic situation, so they were afraid. I don't want to jump like Luffy, it's dangerous. So high, falling, no kidding. Ace, Sabo, don't dodge, you have two choices now. Either you jump down by yourself, or, Grandpa will send you down, there is no other choice. You can't escape. This is a necessary journey, you are too timid. If your vitality is not tenacious enough, let Grandpa help you exercise. Don't talk about danger. In the future, after you go to sea, you will encounter more dangerous things. Ace rubbed his hands together and asked, Grandpa, can we not jump off? Let's climb again, okay? Sabo echoed. Yes, Grandpa, we can climb again. The two had a good plan, which was exactly what Chen Qingtian wanted. Very good, you are very enlightened, and you can even perceive the thoughts of Grandpa, not bad. Jump down from here, then go back to the foot of the mountain and continue climbing. This is the fastest way, don't look at it, hurry up. Chen Qingtian's words cut off their last thought, to climb again. Yes, this is also what Grandpa thought. They cannot escape. Jump down and come to the foot of the mountain faster, so as to continue climbing. The group of people before you are like this, jumping down, they are very conscious, but they don't have as much nonsense as you. Ace and Sabo dare not speak nonsense. Nonsense, do they dare to talk nonsense? Look at Luffy, they're all down. What nonsense are you talking about? The people before them must have been persecuted just like them. Forget it, Sabo, I'll go first. You will die sooner or later, so it is better to jump down quickly, so as not to be beaten later. Grandpa said he wanted to jump off, and he definitely wanted to jump off, there was no other choice. Ace came to the edge of the cliff, took a deep breath, and encouraged himself. Open your hands and welcome the breeze. I am coming. Luffy, Big Brother is here to accompany you. Take a leap, jump down. Ace didn't talk nonsense, opened his eyes, stared down, and let the wind blow his face. After he jumped down, there was still Sabo on the top. Sabo didn't speak, came to the edge of the cliff and took a deep breath. He knew that he couldn't escape, so why didn't he hurry down like Ace? Luffy might be waiting for them down there, and Luffy can't be allowed to roll them in. Close your eyes, dare not look down, and jump down. Since then, the three of them have all gone down. Chen Qingtian looked at their figures with satisfaction, and they all went down. The two people in front landed safely. Luffy and Ace aren't that far apart, and they land differently. Luffy uses the ability of rubber fruit to restrain the branches before landing to relieve most of the impact force, thereby reducing the impact force. Ace doesn't have the ability of devil fruit, so he can only fall. In the same way, he finds his own foothold and lands. There must be some injuries, minor injuries are not worth mentioning. As Sabo also landed, the three of them came to the foot of the mountain safely. Not bad, they all landed safely, it's the first time to do this, very good. The three of them did a good job and didn't need Chen Qingtian's help. Stone, send them back. The three-legged thing, the stone, returned steadily to its place. The three people who fell to the ground found the organization. Gathered with each other, the three of them exchange ideas. Luffy, how are you feeling? HMPH, you two were kicked out too? Of course not, Luffy, the big brothers are different from you. The big brothers jumped off by themselves, unlike someone who needs to be kicked to dare to jump off. Tisk tisk. Good guy, start rolling in directly. As a pioneer, Ace must infiltrate Luffy. The first step is to despise you and make you feel inferior. Luffy said loudly, HMPH, if it wasn't for my great-grandfather's feet being too fast, I could jump down too. It's just bragging, no one will be the same. Ace sneered. Really? Do you dare to jump off? Sabo followed suspiciously. I don't believe you dare to jump off, Luffy. Both big brothers doubted themselves, and Luffy felt stimulated. Wait a minute. Why do they keep prodding me? There must be something hidden from me. Luffy walked around the two of them, pouted and asked, Ace, Sabo, are you trying to trick me? The two smiled bitterly. Luffy has learned to be smart, so it's not easy to cheat. Ahem. What are you talking about, Luffy? How could the big brother deceive you? Ace said. Sabo said again. That's right, we are your big brother, we are too late to care about you, how could we frame you? Luffy didn't believe their nonsense. From the moment they spoke, Luffy sensed that they had bad intentions. They must fool themselves, Luffy, not to believe their nonsense. I want to go by myself, being pulled by two big brothers. Luffy, where are you going? Go home. Luffy, are you sure you want to go home? Where can I go if I don't go home? Luffy responded, do you want to go to town? No, the town is so dangerous, we are still weak, don't go. The level of danger in the town, how to put it, is very dangerous for them. There are a lot of gangsters, and there are some pirates who can't hang out outside, and deliberately find small places to dominate. Even though Grandpa cleaned some, there are still some. The rest is nothing to Grandpa. But for these children, they are still terrifying figures. They met before and were cleaned up. Now, they want to go to the town, and the purpose is self-evident. Luffy is against it, and doesn't want to fight to the death with them. Ace gave Luffy a fist. Who said to go to the town? We are not strong enough now, isn't going to the town looking for death? I mean you go home now? Don't you go back and climb the mountain? Luffy shook his head. You think I'm stupid, I don't want it. Go back to climb the mountain, forget it, their task is completed. There's no need to continue looking for guilt, go home and find something to eat, and have a good sleep, isn't it delicious? Luffy, big brother, I left something behind and I have to go back. You can go back with me, okay? No. Luffy sternly rejected Ace's proposal, there was no way he could go back. Aren't we good brothers? If you don't accompany me back, who will accompany me? Ace pretended to be aggrieved and used his brother as an example. Luffy pointed to Sabo who had nothing to do next to him. Hey, Sabo is free, let him accompany you back, I'm leaving, you go back slowly to find death, hee hee. Luffy, skip away. Ace and Sabo looked at each other and smiled. The trick has worked, Luffy, she really won't go back with them. Going home alone. When the grandfather finds out that he has gone home, will he definitely? Luffy walked 10 meters away, glanced back. Ace and Sabo went back dejectedly. Their lonely backs were very sad. How about going back with them? No, they always cheat me, I can't accompany them. HMPH, who told you to bully me before? Luffy left without looking back. What he didn't know was that he was acting. Ace and Sabo, who are involuntary, run back and climb the mountain. Climb the mountain with a rock on your shoulders. Luffy, go home and lie down. Hungry, get up and find something to eat. Deal with a few mouthfuls and continue to lie down. For some reason, his heart was very disturbed. It seemed that something dangerous was about to happen, but he didn't know what it was. Until he saw the figure of his great-grandfather and looked at him with a smile. Luffy understood, he seemed to be tricked again. Gulu, Grandpa, why are you back? Chen Qingtian folded his hands. What do you say? Luffy. Luffy said tremblingly, Grandpa, my task for today is finished. Did something happen later that I don't know about? Impossible. How could Ace them? No way. Who said today's task is finished? As soon as these words came out, Luffy understood, and he was tricked again. The big brothers calculated themselves, no wonder they said to go back and find things. They must have received the order and deliberately did not tell themselves. Ace and Sabo said, they asked me to come back and rest. Oh, really? Yes, Grandpa, I swear, what I said is true. Then, he was brought up. Move at high speed. After a while, they came to the foot of the mountain. Ace and Sabo are practicing and working hard to climb the mountain. The two of them buried their heads in cultivation and looked serious, which made Luffy look stupid. Did you see that they were climbing the mountain, and you went home to sleep? It's unreasonable. Luffy was dumbfounded. He pointed at Ace and Sabo and yelled, you two tricked me? Ace and Sabo didn't answer and climbed the mountain with peace of mind. Chen Qingtian twisted Luffy's ear, causing him to howl in pain. Ace, Sabo, Luffy said you told him to go back to rest? Is that true? Luffy's question can be ignored, but Grandpa's question cannot be ignored. Ace replied. Grandpa, I never said such a thing. I asked Luffy to come back to exercise, but he refused. He must go back to sleep. I can't persuade him. Sabo opened his eyes and said nonsense. I have already persuaded him, but Luffy insisted on going back to sleep, saying that Grandpa can't control him, he can do whatever he wants. Luffy vomits blood. I didn't say that. Grandpa, don't believe their nonsense. They are slandering me. Okay, let's go practice. Chen Qingtian stared down at Luffy, his smile disappeared, and he stared lightly. Luffy was terrified. He hurriedly said, Grandpa, I never said that, I was wrong. The big brothers are too foolish, actually. They wish they could die. Painful. Grandpa, it was the big brothers who wronged me. Don't believe their lies, Grandpa, I really didn't lie. The witnesses and evidence are all there, Luffy, it's useless to argue. He was lifted up and strung on the steel pipe. He was carried to the top of the mountain, where he lit a fire and grilled meat. Luffy, on top of it, kept burning. The flame, when the wind blows, can burn his ass. If the wind doesn't blow, we live in peace. A safe position, a safe distance, Chen Qingtian controlled it very well. Grandpa, I was wrong, can you let me down? Pleading Luffy, seared in flames. The flame under the buttocks can burn his own buttocks from time to time. Avoiding is not avoiding is not. There was no regular thing, he wanted to tighten up, hugged Sabo's steel pipe tightly, hugged for a while, but the flame didn't burn up. Just put it down, flames, hot ass. Unfathomable pattern, he was burned several times, very sad. Luffy doesn't want to be hung up and burned, it's too miserable, she might as well go climbing. Now that I think about it, mountain climbing is good, Grandpa is good, and Grandpa is too good at torturing people. Why should Sabo's steel pipe be carried with him? Why should he be held by his grandfather? The miserable Luffy, at this moment, blamed everyone, not Ace and Sabo, he would not suffer. Ah. Ace, Sabo, you've done me a disservice. Woo hot. Every time he was burned, he couldn't help crying. This kind of day lasted for a long time. At least for an hour, Ace and Sabo are still early, and it may take a long time to come up. Luffy, just left to dry. No one paid any attention to him, great-grandpa, sitting beside him, ignored him. Alone, barbecue, drink, and eat meat, it's so pleasant. Luffy figured it out. Grandpa always ate meat secretly. He had a big appetite, bigger than all of them. He eats all the time. According to his grandfather's age, it is impossible for him to eat so much, but he can eat. Another half hour passed, and Luffy was about to despair. It seems that great-grandpa won't let him go down, not in a short time. Kill chickens to make an example to monkeys. He killed himself, and respected Ace and Sabo. Why is it always me who gets hurt? Grandpa, can I change someone? I am your own great-grandson. How do you treat me? After my father and grandpa find out, they will trouble you. Can you please stop catching me alone? Who made you stupid and was calculated by others? Grandpa didn't want to change someone, but you. Chen Qingtian wondered. What else can I say if you can jump into the same pit 3 or 4 times? It's not that grandpa doesn't help you, it's that you are too speechless. I have been fooled a few times, I don't learn to be smart, and I suffer, who is to blame? Grandpa, I am fair. Whoever makes a mistake will be punished. You don't learn to be smart yourself, no wonder others. Didn't your great-grandfather tell you, don't trust anyone? Whether you are outside or at home, you must be careful. You cannot blindly believe what others say, and you must make your own judgment. Chen Qingtian said earnestly that he was afraid that Luffy would trust others too easily. In the outside world, it is a taboo. It is easy to be schemed by people with a heart. Maybe he is lucky and meets good people. The more this is the case, the more careful you have to be, and you can avoid many unnecessary things from happening. Grandpa, can I trust other people? Luffy kept a different opinion. He was willing to trust many people. Not because they are stupid, but because they deserve to be believed. Luffy's intuition is very accurate. Who can believe and who can't, you can tell at a glance. You can't say that. In the future, when you meet your partners, you can trust them. Your big brothers can also believe that right now, it's just you who are harming each other. When you go outside, your big brothers will be the ones who will help you unconditionally. So, you have to distinguish clearly what is really helping you, and what is really hurting you. Many things rely on their own to distinguish clearly. It's useless for others to say more, it's yours, it's still yours. Partners, brothers, and elders can all help you unconditionally. These are people who don't ask for anything in return, they are people who really want you. Of course, there are exceptions. It depends on your own eyes whether you believe in the wrong person. Talked a lot, Luffy, lost in thought. Grandpa's words were very profound to him. It's very simple, the principle is very simple, he needs time to think. Grandpa rarely said some things, but at this moment, he couldn't help but say that he wanted him to become smarter. Grandpa, I see. It's good to know, Grandpa doesn't like nonsense. Chen Qingtian said, think carefully when you know. Just right, being scorched by flames can make you think more clearly. Luffy, come down, hopeless. Waiting, he was waiting for the big brothers to arrive. It's been a long time. It's dark. He finally waited until the big brothers arrived. Sabo came up first, and saw Luffy's appearance. Puff. He couldn't help laughing, put down the stone, and laughed on his stomach. It's too bad, it's not what he and Ace think, Luffy is stealing food on it. Ha ha ha. Luffy, you're killing me lol. No, it's too funny. Ace followed behind, came up, put down the stone, Ace frowned and asked without knowing why. Sabo, what happened? Look by yourself. Looking along Sabo's finger, Ace saw the miserable Luffy. He was hung on a steel pipe and burned, and the flames below rose. That look, like a roast suckling pig. Peeved ha ha ha. Luffy, how are you hanging on it? Isn't it fun? Luffy. Two bastards, big brothers, if it weren't for them, how could I have ended up like this? That's horrible. But they actually laughed at themselves, it's fine if they don't help, and they still mock me. There is no reason for this. Hateful. It's horrible. Ace, Sabo, come and save me. Ace and Sabo approached, seeing Luffy's miserable appearance, couldn't help asking. Luffy, how long have you been hanging here? Luffy didn't want to answer, he was desperate. The big brothers are not here to save themselves, they are here to see their own jokes. Tisk tisk, how miserable, Luffy. The ass is black, tisk tisk. Luffy, come down. Luffy nodded sharply. Put me down quickly, Ace, Sabo. The two of them watched the joke, and added a handful of firewood by the way. Accelerate the burning of the flame, let the flame burn more violently. Ah. What are you two doing? No. The big brothers are here to help him add firewood and burn himself. They are not human, but they came to watch the show. Luffy, desperate. After being burned for a long time, I thought I could come down, but who knew, I would still be hung up. Struggling. Not daring to move, there are flames below. What if the rope breaks, wouldn't it? Miserably, he can only hang on. Luffy, tisk tisk, you look good like this. Not to mention, it's very artistic. His body is full of artistic blackness. Black ass, black face. His body was burnt black. Hold on until now, Luffy, to become a roast. Luffy, do you want more firewood? Ace said with a smirk. He cared so much for his younger brother, who made him his younger brother. He has to be treated well, and he cannot be allowed to continue to be arrogant. Inflated Luffy, no one can stop it. Having been vaccinated in advance, the two big brothers were afraid that Luffy would mess up and offend the great-grandfather, and then the three of them would be punished together. To avoid major accidents, they do everything they can. Ace, do you want to kill me? No, Luffy, don't talk nonsense, I'm for your own good. Ace kept adding firewood. When he was tired and thirsty, he came to add firewood. My brother needs a fire, he's cold, and the wind is blowing in the middle of the night, so Luffy can't be cold. It fell to Ace to watch the fire, and he did his job not to leave Luffy cold. Luffy really wants to thank the 18th generation of Ace's ancestors. For himself, he has worked so hard. Ace, put me down, I don't blame past. Threats came one after another. Luffy threatened Ace viciously, not to let him down, and he will take revenge on Ace in the future. Ace pretended to be terrified. Oh, I was scared to death. Hand, could not hold back, and put an extra handful of firewood. The flames rose and burned even harder, and Luffy was hot and hugged the steel pipe. Unfortunately, the steel pipe also emitted heat, constantly scalding his skin. The steel pipe is not burned by the flame, and the heat dissipates and passes quickly. Luffy kept going up and down, bouncing back and forth. He looked more and more like a monkey. Come on, barbecue, today's dinner is barbecue, do it yourself, and have enough food and clothing. Come to barbecue, beast, Chen Qingtian get it back. Pack it up and wait for them to grill their own meat. Chen Qingtian, who had eaten barbecue all day, didn't want to eat it. I am full. Luffy looked at Ace and Sabo who were moved, and wanted to tell them that the barbecue you ate was left over by Grandpa, the leftovers he didn't want. Watching two people grilling meat right under their own body. After a while, the taste came up. Luffy smelled the fragrance and was roasted by this fragrance all afternoon. She got used to it and was relieved. Stomach, hungry flat. His tormentors have changed from great-grandfather to big brothers. The two of them were even more ruthless, and after they were baked, they ate them in front of him. Luffy turned her head, not wanting to see the corners of their ugly mouths, but there were two of them, one on each side. Don't give Luffy a chance to hide. Live barbecue, start now. It takes a few minutes to go from a barbecue live broadcast to a eating broadcast. Luffy, want to eat? Ace seduces Luffy, grills the meat, puts it in the corner of Luffy's mouth, seduces him. Seeing that the barbecue that was about to be eaten reached the corner of his mouth, he couldn't eat it, and the distance was not enough. Luffy stretched his neck, but still couldn't eat. I hate it. Mouth-to-mouth barbecue was gone. Ace opened his mouth and gulped down the roast, chewing and making noises. Tisk tisk. It's delicious, Luffy. The color, fragrance and taste are all good, and the taste of the barbecue is just right, so tender and delicious. Unfortunately, someone can't eat it. Luffy struggled, trying to break free. The rope was bound very tightly, and the more he struggled, the more uncomfortable he became. After a while, he gave up struggling. Watching them eat barbecue, I can only watch them. Ace, Sabo, can you put me down? I've been up there for a long time. Hands and feet are numb, if you don't let me down, I might die. Sabo relented and helped Luffy wipe the smoke off his face. Luffy, it's not that Big Brother doesn't help you, but that Big Brother doesn't dare. With my great-grandfather watching, I dare not disobey my great-grandfather's order. If you want to come down, ask your great-grandpa. If your great-grandfather agrees, I will let you down immediately. Then, he gave Luffy a show eating barbecue, fancy eating barbecue. Various poses, various collocations. What goes best with barbecue is, of course, wine. Too bad they can't drink alcohol. Grandpa drank alone, slowly admiring the barbecue made by Ace. Ace had a conscience and knew how to deliver barbecue to himself. Good boy, your eyesight is really good, no wonder you can eat well wherever you go. Sabo boy is the same, warm heart. Compared with Luffy, this silly boy, looking out for himself, can't do it. Grandpa, can you let me go? Beg, long. Craving a roast, Luffy, I'm starving. Go on and he'll go crazy. You really want to come down? Do you dare next time? I was wrong, Grandpa, don't dare, there will be no next time. If you do something wrong, you have to be punished. If you do something right, you will be rewarded. Your great-grandfather and I have always had the same principle. If you do something wrong, you have to accept the punishment. Otherwise, there will be another time. What a shame. Chen Qingtian said seriously. Based on the principle of not letting you go, Grandpa originally wanted you to hang around until tomorrow. If you don't teach you a lesson, you will ignore what Grandpa said. However, for the sake of your sincerity, great-grandpa can let you go this time, just. The turning point has come. It's a familiar taste again. Luffy knew that things were not that simple, and Grandpa must be thinking of tricks again. Grandpa, I was wrong. Apologies, Luffy is on point. Begging, pretending to be pitiful, eager to get forgiveness from Grandpa. You boy. How about this, you perform a pole dance for the old man. This matter is over. How about it? Just right. There are steel pipes, people, barbecue, and good wine. How can a bonfire party lack dancing? There is a little less entertainment. You kid will give us a show, which can be regarded as the opening. Ace booed. Luffy, hurry up and agree. It's just dancing. You're good at it. Sabo said, Luffy, don't you want to eat barbecue? They'd rather see Luffy pole dancing than grill Luffy. That scene must have been fun. It took all of their efforts to get Luffy to pole dance. Luffy is still struggling. Pole dancing, he can't dance. He didn't want to do such a shameful thing. The flames are burning. In the dark night, there were only 4 of them on the top of the mountain. Now is a good opportunity. How can there be no program? The atmosphere needs to be set off, and you can't eat barbecue dry. Luffy, don't think about it. Come on, Big Brother will help you down. Ace and Sabo both help. Whether you agree or not, we help you agree. If you all come down and want to repent, it is already impossible. Luffy just got down like this. He looked at the steel pipe in his hand, then watched Ace and Sabo find the other 2 steel pipes, combined them together to become a long enough steel pipe. The 2 worked hard to help without Luffy's hands. After a while, the stage was set up. The remaining dancing protagonist, Luffy, is wheeled onto the stage. Ace continued to boo. Dance, Luffy. Sabo's part-time host. Now, we have invited our great pole dance scholar Luffy to come on stage. He will give us a performance of his original pole dance. I believe many people are looking forward to it. Now, let us hand over the stage to Luffy. Slap. Slap. Enthusiastic applause resounded through the scene. The 3 applauded non-stop, welcoming Luffy, who was about to take the stage. Pole dance master Luffy, who is about to start his new dance, has been working hard on innovation for 5 years, and finally has results. Today, he wants to show his demeanor to everyone and announce that he, the king of pole dancing, has returned to the world of pole dancing. Shirima, your emperor has returned. The applause was like thunder. Chen Qingtian cheered and applauded, and Luffy performed a pole dance, which is worthy of praise. Even though he knew that Luffy didn't nod his head in agreement, he was the protagonist pushed up by Ace and Sabo, and he was not allowed to resist. At this moment, all resistance is useless. Things have become a foregone conclusion. Luffy stood on the stage, looking stupidly at the pole, and at the 3 spectators below. They applaud, they give themselves encouragement. Luffy can't help stroking the pole. A series of titles hung on his head, and he himself didn't know that he was so powerful. A dance he doesn't understand at all, he doesn't know where to start. Ace urged, Luffy, jump up. Sabo pointed to the steel pipe and said, climb up, then down, up again, down again. The 2 guide Luffy in dancing. Sabo is professional. Tell him how to do it, what to do, very professional. You can tell at a glance that you are an expert. You don't know anything, you just rely on your mouth. Literally, they are professionals. Butt up. Yes, the action must be standard. Thighs, yes, the action of the thighs is a little higher. It's great, it's perfect. Sabo praised sincerely. Luffy, you have the potential to learn pole. You are a genius in the dancing world. Not surprisingly, 30 years from now, you'll be a master of it. Ace was really surprised when he found out that Sabo had this ability for the first time. He looked at Sabo in amazement, not at all like the usual him. Boo. Sabo is also very powerful. People who watch the show are watching the play. Grandpa, you are a melon-eating crowd. I will watch you make a fuss. For the elderly, it is a very happy thing to watch the grandchildren make noise. Chen Qingtian, who was smiling cheerfully, was constantly amused by the 3 of them. Luffy became a clown. Climb up, he really climbed up. Sabo, the master of action guidance, is on the side. Luffy quickly learned how to perform and how to attract the attention of the audience. His movements and every posture are full of taste. Climb up, reach the apex, and slide down. The action is pretty standard. His thigh, hooked on the steel pipe, fell to the ground, and he got stuck on his thigh. The head, down, is only a fist away from the ground. Distance, position, and posture are well controlled. If that pose is performed by a beautiful woman, I believe many people will shout wildly. Old man, there's no one who doesn't like this dance. It's so pleasing to the eye, and there are not so many things to see. Nice. Luffy, perfect. Handsome, Luffy. Not bad, Luffy. Luffy, who received comprehensive praise, asked shyly, really? Is it that good? Is my dancing really that good? You are not lying to me, are you? Sabo said seriously. Luffy, I don't allow you to underestimate yourself. Your handsomeness has been shown from the moment you stand on the stage. You have to remember, you are the most handsome cub, no one can compare with you. At this moment, you are the most handsome. You are the most handsome guy on the block, no doubt about it. Ace gave a thumbs up. Luffy, you are really handsome, big brother, I want to perform. The two complimented Luffy, and Luffy's little vanity was satisfied. He didn't believe the two big brothers, his eyes widened, and he asked about his grandfather. Grandpa, is it true? Chen Qingtian touched his head. Yes, you are the most beautiful boy. None of them. First, your courage conquered us. Secondly, you can perform coquettishly. Yes, you are the first man who can dance pole dance so coquettishly. Finally, I would like to praise your learning ability. From Sabo's few words, you can comprehend your own dance, which is great. A true warrior dares to face everything. Be fearless. Luffy, can you do it again? I want to see it again. Ace begged. Fulfill the wish of big brother, Luffy, perform again. Sabo eagerly said. Luffy, do it again, okay? The two big brothers begged themselves, a treat Luffy had never enjoyed. At this moment, he couldn't help doubting himself. Do I really have a talent for dancing? From the way they look, it doesn't seem like they are laughing at me. Okay. Luffy reluctantly agreed. For the sake of your sincerity, I'll perform it again. Don't be dazed anymore. Watch and learn. Inky Luffy melted into the darkness. Climbing poles and dancing are just secondary. He climbed up with difficulty, like a monkey. That movement, that posture, I can't bear to witness. The three couldn't help smiling. Ace and Sabo covered their mouths to keep themselves from laughing, it was so funny. Luffy didn't know it, he thought he danced very well, and he couldn't tell the good words from the good words. A silly boy. Chen Qingtian was also laughing, seeing Luffy making embarrassments, why not watch it? There will be no chance in the future. The operation was as fierce as a tiger, and Luffy came down, like 205. The three laughed at themselves, he didn't know why, he thought they were satisfied and happy. How am I dancing? Ace stood up and applauded. It's great, it looks good. Sabo applauded. You are handsome, Luffy, you are the best. Chen Qingtian smiled and said, not bad. Still the same sentence, no other words. Luffy came to Sabo's side and signaled that it was Sabo's turn. Sabo, it's your turn, go. He sat down and ate the barbecue grilled by Sabo, it was delicious, and he was so hungry that he wished he could finish it all. Sabo looked at Luffy suspiciously, he waved his hand and said, Luffy, what are you doing? I didn't say that I'm going to perform, are you in the dark? Luffy held the roast in both hands and had his mouth full. He chewed heavily, wishing that all the food would go into his stomach. He was hungry, so hungry, he ate barbecue regardless of his image. Swallowing it down, he muttered, didn't you just say that I would go up to you after the performance, did you forget? Ace, did you hear that just now? Ace nodded and said, Sabo has said that before. I'm a witness, Sabo, you go up. Grandpa, did you hear that just now? Luffy came to a trick and asked the two people. Chen Qingtian nodded. Come on, both of them nodded. Sabo is a dumb man who eats coptis, so he can't tell the pain. You? They must have done it on purpose, to see me make a fool of myself. It's unreasonable, how could they treat me like this? Not yours, let's do it, Sabo. Luffy urged Sabo, with a smirk on his face, wishing everyone could go up and perform pole dancing. It's a shame to be alone, that's a real shame. When many people do it, it becomes the norm, and it is no longer a shameful thing. Luffy is full of calculations, he wants to be a smart person, and he can't always be calculated by others. He regained a victory, his face full of joy. Sabo, hurry up, don't dawdle and waste our time. Luffy pushed Ace and asked Ace to help urge him. Ace wants to watch Sabo perform, not for anything else, just to appreciate Sabo's beautiful dance. Ordinary people can't see such famous scenes. Sabo, hurry up. Sabo didn't expect the two of them to unite, and the alliance between himself and Ace broke down. The two were no longer brothers, but rivals. Ace, you? Sabo pointed at Ace, he couldn't believe it, the good brother he trusted, stabbed himself in the back at this moment. Being backstabbed for the first time, Sabo's body trembled, his upper lip biting his lower lip. He wanted to question Ace why he did that. Come on, Sabo. Grandpa urged. Sabo, no time to question. He can only walk up obediently, touching the steel pipe he is familiar with, and he wants to dedicate himself to the best steel pipe. That was his weapon, his brother, his partner. At this moment, he didn't expect that his humiliating side would bloom in front of the steel pipe. Sabo is timid, wanting to struggle again. Maybe someone will save him. 3 people, pure melon eaters, eating barbecue, drinking wine, watching him happily. They were waiting for the show to start, and they lacked a pack of melon seeds, otherwise, the picture would be more beautiful. Luffy, Ace, not as good as us. Back off, Sabo doesn't want to pole dance. Luffy booed the loudest when he jumped. Now, he was actually scared. Luffy mocked. Sabo, you are not afraid, are you? Sabo said firmly. No, how could I be afraid? The surface is tough, but the heart is panicked. I don't want to perform, it's an insult to his identity. Sabo, forget it if you're afraid. I think you don't have the guts to dance. It's just a pole dance. I've already done it. What are you afraid of? You won't die. I really don't understand why you are so timid. With your courage, if you want to be our big brother, you probably have no chance. Luffy is outspoken when it comes to murderous words. It's impossible for you to want to be our big brother. Even pole dancers are afraid. What qualifications do you have to be our big brother? Why don't we re-rank? You will be the 3rd brother, and I will be the eldest brother. Luffy taunted, and Ace followed suit. The two taunted Sabo together and let out a hard breath. Ace curled his lips and said, looks like I'm going to be the big brother. Sabo, come on, shout big brother. I promise you don't have to dance the pole. Sabo. Luffy booed. Me too, Sabo, you call me big brother, I'll help you dance. It's just pole dancing, it's a trifle. Luffy has no fear. Hurry up, call me big brother, I'll help you. Sabo has a dark face. The 2 little brothers, in order to become the big brother, they did not hesitate to backstab themselves. They really worked hard. Unfortunately, their wishes came to nothing. Sabo, don't allow others to take away the position of your big brother. Other things can be discussed, but this is the only one that cannot be discussed. HMPH, it's just pole dancing. If there's any difficulty, I'll do it. Sabo rolled up his sleeves and danced on the pole. It's just dancing, no one will be the same. Keep your eyes open for me, watch carefully, study hard. What is a real pole dance, Luffy? What you dance is just rubbish dance. Watch big brother perform for you. He moved his body and was about to show his graceful dancing posture. Reach out and hold the steel pipe. Very steady. Pull hard and climb up. It went up, but unfortunately, it quickly slid down. He sat on the ground with his buttocks, looking dazed. What happened? Why? The audience in the audience laughed from ear to ear. Ha ha ha, I laughed so hard, Sabo, you are so stupid. Peeved haha, I didn't expect you to be so stupid, Sabo. You talk so well, but if you really want to do it, you are the worst one. You can't even climb up the pole, Sabo, you are too shameful. Tisk tisk. The 3 of them took turns mocking Sabo. Your behavior has far exceeded our expectations. At the first step, you fail. It couldn't go up, and it slid down, sitting on the ground. Did not see. Maybe this is the so-called expert. They say they are invincible, but they really need to work, but they are nothing. Chen Qingtian was amused by Sabo. He thought of many versions, but he didn't expect this version. So shocking. Sabo, the eldest brother among the 3, actually lost Waterloo. Surprisingly, Sabo, he can't climb up. He's heavy. Small body, too stupid. Did not see. Clumsy movements, funny body, uncoordinated hands and feet. It's not like one person, but the bodies of several people are stitched together. Sabo is working hard, he will make a second sprint. It was an accident just now. What I showed you was a failed version. Don't learn from it. Sabo has a thick skin, in a word, he brought up what happened just now. He's about to sprint, a second time, and can't fail. Can't slide down, no matter what you have to hold on to the steel pipe. Come on, Sabo, climb up, don't let them laugh at you. Sabo rolled up his sleeves, jumped up, and grabbed the pole with all his strength. Hold the steel pipe between your feet and push upwards. The beginning was smooth, and he climbed up smoothly. After climbing to a height of less than 1 meter, he couldn't get up because his small body was stuck in the middle. With both hands and feet, wrapping around the steel pipe hard, trying to climb up, I can't do it. His body doesn't obey. Zilu. Body, slipped to the ground. Sitting on the ground, it was exactly the same as the first time. He came down again and couldn't make it to the top. Pole dancing, worthy of the name. Not even half the distance, what a shame. Sabo, sitting on the ground, covered his face, ashamed to see others. He looked down at his hands and feet, in doubt. Why is this happening? It's impossible for me not to climb up. What Luffy can do, I, Sabo, can definitely do. I have no reason to be inferior to Luffy. Am I really stupid than Luffy? Unable to believe the result, Sabo will sprint for the third time. He doesn't accept his failure. It's just pole dancing. It's a small thing. He can challenge success. It was an accident just now. You have the right to take it as a joke. Now, it is the official version. Sabo explained a word, ready to sprint for the third time. This time, only success is allowed, not failure. As the saying goes, there are only 3 things, and he may be able to do it. How can a small steel pipe block his way forward? He has no reason to be worse than Luffy. Sabo will not accept this result. The third time, sprint. Fail. The result is the same, 1 meter distance, no more, no less. At this point, it seems that the body slides down automatically, uncontrollably. Sabo looked at his hands and feet, deeply suspicious. Am I really that bad? Before I always laughed at Luffy for being nothing, but unexpectedly, I couldn't even climb a small steel pipe. I can't accept it. I want to go to the top. No matter what, he's going to get to the top. Not being able to be looked down upon by them, he could hear the wanton laughter of the 3. They mocked themselves loudly, and the laughter, like needles, pierced his heart. Sabo couldn't refute it. He was really clumsy and couldn't do anything well. Now, he has failed to climb up the small steel pipe. Dancing, non-existent. He was more humiliated like this than dancing. The 4th time. Sprint. Still fail. The 5th time. The 6th time. After 10 times, Sabo powerlessly sat on the ground. He doubted himself, and he himself did not believe in himself. He obviously has strength, but why did he feel exhausted when he got to that place? Uncontrollable. Several times in a row, the same place. Sabo suspected that there was something wrong with his body, so he asked his grandfather to help him take a look. Check out. Chen Qingtian gave a sentence. You have nothing. Energetic enough to kill a cow. As for why, Chen Qingtian is not clear. It may be a subconscious behavior. He doesn't like climbing. Sabo, are you afraid of heights? Chen Qingtian thought of a possibility, fear of heights, and even fear of climbing. Sabo shook his head. Grandpa, I'm not afraid of heights. If he is afraid of heights, he will not jump off a cliff. You are not afraid of such a high cliff, and you are not afraid of losing the height of a steel pipe, okay? Are you mentally ill? I do not have. Have you ever been hurt before? No. Sabo, do you have a psychological shadow? Sabo shook his head. He didn't have any. He didn't even have what his grandfather suspected. Unable to find the problem, Sabo became even more anxious, scurrying around like a headless chicken. Is it a problem with the steel pipe? Chen Qingtian gave Ace a look, signaling Ace to go over. Ace pointed at himself. He didn't expect to eat melon on himself. He was very reluctant to climb. It was so embarrassing. Grandpa, you let Luffy go. He likes to climb. Ace pushes Luffy to death. Luffy's mouth is full, holding a barbecue in his left and right hands. He is not available to help Ace. Ace wants to snatch the barbecue, but Luffy won't give it to him. Come on, Ace. Sabo urged. Ace, go try it out and help me find the problem. Ace always felt that something was wrong, but he didn't expect the problem. When he came to the stage and saw the back of Sabo leaving, he seemed to understand something. I seem to have been calculated. Damn it, I got caught. At this moment, he thought about it. It was impossible. 3 people plot against him together. There is something for everyone, and it never fails. It's all dancing. How can I let Ace not enjoy it once by himself? Sabo, are you cheating on me? Sabo sits down. He won't get up again. Ace, hurry up and help me find the problem. Big brother, I'm counting on you. Grinning his teeth, Ace still doesn't understand that he has really been tricked. Damn, careless. Calculated by Sabo, this guy, he was acting from the beginning. Grandpa must have seen something was wrong. He helped Sabo to calculate himself. Grandpa, Luffy, are you accomplices? Luffy smiled and shook his head. He only wanted to eat barbecue. Other things had nothing to do with him. Chen Qingtian smiled and said, you can't say that. I really don't know anything, Ace. Try it quickly and tell me the answer. People who know the answer deliberately find an excuse. Ace, can't fail to satisfy them. If you come up by yourself, you will definitely not be able to go down. Those 3 people will not allow themselves to go down. He can only dance. He can't act like Sabo, pretending that he can't climb up, so as to get himself out. Lose face and lose half, and keep the remaining half in your heart. The 3 melon eaters watched Ace perform together. Ace was under a lot of pressure. He stared at the 3 people, glanced at them, and warned the 3 of them viciously. Looking squarely at the steel pipe, Ace caresses the steel pipe, among which there is one of his own. 3 people. each with a steel pipe. Ace strokes the pole up and down with no issues. With a light jump, people hang on the steel pipe. Grab the steel pipe with both hands, climb up, and show Sabo what is the real climbing technique. I usually walk around, climb trees, climb mountains, and challenge myself. It's just a steel pipe, a small problem. All of a sudden, he climbed up a section, and Ace stepped on the steel pipe with both feet, climbing up step by step. After a while, he reached the top. The speed is so fast that he is the fastest one among the three. Slide down. Show over. He wanted to go. Chen Qingtian stretched out his hand and said, "Where do you want to go?" Ace. Ace blinked and said, "My show is over, Grandpa." "Didn't you start the show yet? Why did it end?" Ace. "Up, down, and that's it. Are you sure you're going to dance?" "What about dancing? When you don't see anything, you just think about it and think about it beautifully." "Grandpa, I performed. Didn't I climb up just now?" Ace pointed to the pole and explained that he climbed up, and the performance ended. Chen Qingtian picked his nose. "What I want is dancing, not climbing. Do you want to come down before dancing?" "Impossible. Ace, go back and perform dancing." "Don't think about it. I tell you, I'm staring at you, I'm not satisfied, you can't come down." In a word, cut off Ace's retreat. Ace didn't expect his grandfather's attitude towards him to be completely different. He is cruel to Luffy, gentle to Sabo, and strict with himself. A handsome guy dancing is naturally different. Ace's mental capacity is not good enough, he has to exercise hard. He is different from Sabo Luffy, he does not have the big heart of the two of them. Of the three, the most stressful and dangerous is Ace. It must be treated strictly, and cannot be muddled. "Grandpa, I object." Ace made his point, he didn't want to dance. "My own performance is over, and I will not perform anymore." Chen Qingtian stood up, raised his hand, and pointed to Ace. "You have a chance to say it again, Ace." "Grandpa, I will give you a chance, you choose yourself. Do you have to stick to your own opinion, or listen to your grandfather's words?" Ace stood in place, clenched his fists and clenched his mouth. He looked at his great-grandpa, feeling unwilling, unhappy, and stubborn. The stubbornness of the young man carries the unique rebellion of his age. There is only one chance, don't be ignorant of cherishing it. Ace gritted his teeth, he wanted to refute and refused to dance. He is not suitable for dancing, nor does he know how to dance pole dancing, but he dare not say it. Grandpa's eyes, his smile, said a lot of things. If he dared to refuse, his fate would be miserable. Luffy and Sabo jumped, it was his turn, he wouldn't let him get away. It is impossible to want to leave. At least not now, he can only dance. Looking at the steel pipe, the darkness of the night enveloped his face. The faint moonlight landed on the stage, dyeing it white. The film-like white covering his body may be due to the aura of the protagonist, and the heavens are also happy for him to dance. It's just a pole dance, just jump as long as you want, afraid of being a fart. Thinking so, Ace climbed up the pole, while twisting his body, posing in a very shy posture. I don't understand why I can jump out of such a posture, it may be the subconscious hidden deep in my blood. Once the body moves, it cannot be refused. Let's go, dance. Pole dancing. Here comes the Ace. Climb up, reach the top, and officially start the journey of pole dancing. Ace turned his head and smiled, slipping down, that posture, that movement, simply. Surrounding the steel pipe, jumping out of various styles. Looking back and smiling, those who didn't know thought it was a woman dancing. I go. Hiss. This? Ace's dancing talent is so strong. It can hardly be called the same person, he is too strong. Whether it's movement, demeanor, or others, it far surpasses Luffy and Sabo. Compared to him, Luffy and Sabo are garbage. The two were stunned and couldn't believe that this person was Ace, who had always remained indifferent. That cool boy is gone forever. He and the steel pipe achieve each other. In the blink of an eye, one person, one steel pipe, perfectly blended with the surrounding environment. The moonlight sprinkled on the stage and illuminated the lights. Wherever he went, there was moonlight shining down. Every move, every frown and smile, nothing is beautiful. Forget about it. Entering the realm of forgetting things in me, at this moment, Ace is intoxicated in his own world of steel pipes, unable to extricate himself. Up, down. Constantly jumping out of various difficult moves really stunned everyone. After a dance, he didn't want to stop. Keep dancing, don't stop. At this moment, he doesn't care about what is shameful or not. Luffy raised his hands and shouted, Ace, Ace. Sabo followed up and shouted, Ace, Ace, you are the best. Ace, Ace, Ace. Ace's shout is left, and the two of them say hello to Ace. clap, shout, jump up, and dance along. The body, involuntarily beating. I don't know why, it dances automatically. The dance seeds buried deep in the blood are blooming at this moment. Chen Qingtian raised his hand, he was attracted and moved by Ace's dance. In my mind, a song popped up involuntarily, he hummed along with the dance. Yo ho 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 ho. Yo ho 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 ho. Raise your hands and sing. The singing is simple and contains emotion. It is the song of the nautical man. When you first hear this song, you will be deeply attracted by him. Luffy danced to Grandpa's humming, and sang along with his mouth. When I hear this song, my first feeling is to sing along. The melody in front is very simple, repeating the same sentence. Yo ho 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 ho. Luffy threw up his hands and sang along. Yo ho 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 ho. Sabo also followed, each saying a word. Raise your hands and sing loudly. The dark night is lit by singing. At the moment, no one feels ashamed. Dancing, singing, eating, bonfires flickering. There is a moon hanging in the sky, no matter how you look at it, it is a good day. The gentle wind blows their cheeks. The days without worrying about eating and drinking make people happy and happy. Make me happy. Several people, dancing together, holding hands, dancing with each other. The rhythm of each other, the same. Send Binks wine to your side. Binks wine, this nautical song, blooms now. When Luffy heard this song for the first time, he was shocked. A few of them fell in love with this song. The atmosphere is very suitable for this kind of time. A few friends, drinking and eating together, burning a bonfire. Dance and have fun with each other. Throw away the troubles of yesterday and welcome the new life of tomorrow. Like the sea breeze, ride the wind and break the waves. On the other side of the sea, the setting sun is making noise. The song of the birds draws circles in the air. The singing is long. With a gentle voice, she sang her own song. Grandpa's voice gave the song its soul, and those who heard it couldn't help shaking with their blood. The body moves involuntarily, no matter what your personality is, you have to move at this moment. Ace danced pole dance, was attracted by the singing, and looked back at his grandfather. Yo ho 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 ho. He raised his hand and hummed along. He couldn't remember the other lyrics, but he definitely remembered this one. Sing along, stand on stage, and dance like crazy. At this moment, everyone is dancing. They welcome the arrival of happiness, and the new life of tomorrow is about to come. Today's happiness, let it stop today, don't be troubled by yesterday and tomorrow. Move, little ones. Okay, Grandpa. Grandpa, sing and dance. Luffy pulled Chen Qingtian and danced along with him. For the few of them, there is no barrier, no indifference. Perhaps, at this moment, a turning point occurs. Chen Qingtian has been integrated into their system. The three little ones like this feeling, and someone will accompany them to fight. Someone played with them, a teenager like them. A man is a teenager until he dies. Chen Qingtian is no exception. Age is a problem, for him, there is no age distinction. He will respect the opinions of the children. Unlike some parents, they cannot have their own thoughts. Children are independent individuals, and they have their own unique opinions on what they think and what they do. Go with their character instead of restricting them. Can't do this, can't do that, can't do anything. Doing anything is wrong, only doing what they think is right is right. If Chen Qingtian thought that way, he would have been beaten to death long ago. Looking at the three little ones, they were completely immersed in joy. The sadness and pain of these days are all released now. Chen Qingtian smiled. The child's thinking was very innocent and simple, not that complicated. I don't have too many thoughts, happiness is the most important thing. In their hearts, this moment is the most beautiful moment. Don't worry about food, drink, and clothes, someone will take care of them, and someone will love them. They have all enjoyed the love they never enjoyed before. It's a rare thing, so I cherish it. 3 people, originally 3 left behind children, basically living alone, Luffy, was left behind. They cherish each other, help each other, and grow each other. In the blink of an eye, a year has passed. The 3 little ones grew up and grew taller. Their height is much taller than a year ago. They don't have to worry about eating and drinking, their bodies are strong and their muscles are coming out. Carrying stones and climbing up the mountain, this process lasted for a long time. I don't know when it started, carrying stones became the daily routine of the 3 of them. Every day when they woke up, they came to climb the mountain. By exercising, their physical fitness has improved by an unknown amount. Being able to climb back and forth twice, at least for now, they don't resist exercise. Daily tasks are inevitable. At other times, the faster you can climb up, the more you can rest. They touched the rules of their grandfather. At first, they couldn't adapt and resisted in various ways. He even felt that Grandpa was too ruthless. He didn't give them a rest time, and wanted to force them to die. Now, after feeling the rules and getting used to it, I realized that I had a lot of time to rest. Grandpa won't take care of them too much, he won't talk to you after completing the daily tasks. How nice it is to lie down and sleep alone. Drinking and sleeping became Chen Qingtian's daily routine. He has received all the rewards. The arrival of the 3 cubs this year has come in stages. The first rewards have been obtained, and his strength has improved a little. Not much, maybe the strength of the 3 little ones is that much. Host. Monkey D. Qingtian, Chen Qingtian, Devil Fruit. Zone Turtle Fruit Phantom Beast Species Basalt Form, Basalt Evolution, 99. Skills. Iron Body LV 94, Finger Pistol 92, Moonwalk LV 92, Shaving LV 93, Tempest Kick LV 90, Paper Arts LV 93, Armament Hakilv 95, Observation Hakilv 96, Conquerors Hakilv 90, One Punch LV 94, Life Return LV 94, Swordsmanship LV 90. Iron Body Basalt Body, none. 6 Styles Basalt Boxing, none. Open the sky with 1 sword, avoid the gods. Devil Fruit Abilities. Anti-injury. Covering water, cracking earth, suppressing, dividing heaven, love of the earth, lion majesty, poisonous dragon, Xuanwu coercion, mystery, waves of water. The ability has not increased, but the strength has improved. Devil Fruit Evolution stuck in an awkward place, 99, unable to go any further. Chen Qingtian has been meditating and comprehending nature for a year. Tried to evolve once, but unexpectedly, it still didn't work. The shackles are stuck, unable to take a step. He knew that behind him was a world, a new world. The world that he can't touch, wants to step out and have a look at that world. It has troubled him for a long time. He looks like he is sleeping, but in fact, he is comprehending nature. The natural energy continuously nourishes his body and enhances his physical fitness. There is an increase every day, which seems to be a small amount, but if it accumulates, it will be a lot in a year. Chen Qingtian's body, or his strength, all kinds of auras have grown. Returning to the basics, he can hide how much it increases. He uses his own strength skillfully. Other abilities have also been increased, by 1 or 2 levels, among which, Life Return has been improved the most. Already up to level 94, feel nature every day, comprehend the principles of heaven and earth. His body moves with the fluctuations of nature and life. Controlling every inch of skin in his body, he could feel his cells moving. In this process, he knew that the body was changing and leaping. That's right, jumping is different from ordinary changes. The level of life has entered a new level, and it is no longer the previous life form. Whether he can take that step depends on the arrangement of fate. Looking at the 3 little ones again, they were able to chat and laugh without falling behind each other. 3 people, move forward together, regardless of front and back. They don't seem to care, in fact, no one wants to be the last person. It doesn't matter the first and second, but you can't be the last person. Luffy, let the big brothers go, okay. That is, you are the younger brother, how can you walk ahead of the big brother? Luffy pouted and said, hee hee, you have been walking ahead of me before, and now you have a chance to surpass me. What are you talking about here? Ace, Sabo, where's your face? Do you still want face? You too. Ace smiled and said, haha, Luffy, look at what you said, it's just for face, I didn't want it as early as a year ago. Sabo said, whether you retreat or not, you still rush forward, believe it or not, I will beat you. The big brother of the 2 menaces, coercing Luffy to walk behind. Luffy pouted. Huh. It's not certain who beats whom, Ace, Sabo. With the blessing of Devil Fruit, he is not afraid of ordinary attacks. Those don't hurt unless it's a cut. And big brothers, without the blessing of Devil Fruit, they feel the pain. In contrast, Luffy found himself with a huge advantage. The current him is not afraid of the 2 big brothers teaming up to deal with him. It's just a beating, whoever is afraid, wins a little bit. Ace and Sabo were speechless, Luffy became stiff, now, he knew how to refute. You look at his face, how hateful. Knowing that you have Devil Fruit, knowing that you are powerful. Luffy, don't worry, I will definitely eat a Devil Fruit that is stronger than you, and I will eat Logia Devil Fruit instead of your Paramecia. Ace's thinking is different from Luffy's, Logia is invincible in the early stage. Whoever eats it is equal to invincibility. Without the Devil Fruit illustrated book, they cannot tell what Devil Fruit is. It's all luck, in the world, there are not many people who own the Devil Fruit illustrated book, or have seen it. There are only a few, that kind of confidential documents, it is impossible for the people below to know. I want to eat Logia Devil Fruit too, When the time comes, I'll make you sick, HMPH. Sabo also eats Logia instead of Paramecia devil fruit. Luffy waved his fist. Eat it as you like, my rubber fruit is the best, no matter what devil fruit you eat, I can beat you hard. Devil fruit is not strong or weak, it depends on the user. Sorry, Chopper, for bringing you up again. Some devil fruits are exceptions, we don't care. Ha ha ha, Luffy, you were quite courageous. I hope you can still laugh when the time comes. We will definitely abuse you. When the time comes, you will cry. The two were determined to eat Logia devil fruit, and their idea is to eat whichever one is invincible. Logia devil fruit Mera fruit. How should I put it? Got a title. The devil fruit that dogs don't eat, was eaten by the two of them one after another. In the later stage of the battle, anyone can play fire. Chen Qingtian shook his head, amused by the words of the three of them. Logia devil fruit is good, there is nothing wrong with it, at least if your physical skills are not bad, no matter how you say it, you can have a medium combat power. If physical skills are good, devil fruit is not badly developed, and basically can be regarded as a first-class combat power, even if it is a top-notch combat power. Paramecia devil fruit, how should I put it, is a bug. In the later stage, everything can be played mysteriously. Rubber fruit turned out to be in the form of Nika. You said he vomited blood, but he did not vomit blood. Ahem, you three come here. The three little ones came to the grandpa, not knowing why. Grandpa, what are you doing? We still have to practice. Can you come to us after we finish our work? Seriously, what a waste of our time. The three little ones have strong rebellious emotions. Their training time has been taken up, so they must vent. After getting acquainted with Grandpa, the three of them were unscrupulous. Say what you have to say, though, and sometimes get beat up. They were immune to the beatings of great-grandpa, just like that. Every day I have to find something for my grandfather to do, otherwise he will lie there drinking every day, and sooner or later he will die on it. They are well-intentioned, but they don't want Grandpa to die. The great-grandfather who is getting older is living a more lazy life, watching them every day and not doing other things. Laziness has reached ultimate, and after he doesn't need to do anything, Chen Qingtian's life is much easier with the three little ones taking care of it. You don't need to deliberately manage them, and you don't need to look at them. Every day, I lay quietly on the top of the mountain, built a small shed, and lived in it. A lie down may be a morning or an afternoon. Cannot get up, absolutely not up. The three of them were afraid every time they came up, and the great-grandfather lost his breath. It would scare the three of them to death. From then on, they decided to find it for Grandpa. In case the great-grandfather loses his breath at any time, they don't know what to do. Are the three of you too hard-headed to talk to Grandpa like that? Throw your fist and intimidate them. The three little ones are not afraid, and the great-grandfather is just scary and won't really do anything. Chen Qingtian was speechless, his character had been figured out. The three little ones had nothing to worry about, they said, Grandpa, if you have anything to say, hurry up. That's right, don't waste our time, don't you know our time is precious? Every minute is precious and we cannot afford to waste it. To waste time is to live with life. The way the three of them spoke gradually approached Chen Qingtian. Full of truth, and then resistance. A life without resistance is meaningless. Independent individuals, independent minds, none of the three of them will follow the others. Luffy pouted. Grandpa, hurry up, I'm really busy. Beyond two big brother failures, Luffy still has a few more times, only the first time. It's early, he must surpass the two of them, just today. After waiting for so long, I finally got an opportunity, how could I let it go? At this moment, he wished he could surpass them immediately, instead of listening to his grandfather's nonsense here. Chen Qingtian pressed his hands and said, Ahem, I have some good news for you, do you want to listen? The three little ones gave Chen Qingtian a harsh reprimand. Speak if you have something to say, and fart if you have something to say. Grandpa, can you just order it directly? What's the point of selling it? We don't have much time, so we don't have much time to waste. Hurry up, Grandpa. The more anxious the three were, the less anxious Chen Qingtian was. He said slowly, a month ago, your grandfather said he would come back to see you. I guess the time is about the same. It should be in these 2 days, or it may be today. Let me tell you in advance. One sound, let you be mentally prepared. As soon as these words came out, the three of them were shocked. Luffy opened his mouth. Huh? Under Ace's calm expression, there was a trace of panic hidden. Sabo can't keep calm either. It seems that the days of being taken care of by Grandpa Garp are vivid in his memory. It was too miserable to describe. When Garp moves his hands, it really hurts, he beats people, and he never touches lightly. When you can be unreasonable, you will never be unreasonable. In Garp's words, the truth is for the strong, and the weak are not qualified to speak. Ace widened his eyes and asked, "Today? I don't know, anyway, it's just these few days. Keep an eye on the shore to see if there are any warships approaching." Chen Qingtian left a sentence and continued to sleep. He won't take care of the rest. It's just that the sun is back, so there's no fuss. It's been more than a year, and he didn't come back to visit them again. Probably they all forgot about Garp. I can be lazy for a while, and with Garp around, I guess the happy life of the three little ones will be gone. Thinking of that scene, Chen Qingtian couldn't help being happy. Outside, the three little ones were sitting together, their expressions were ugly. Ace asked, "What should we do? Grandpa's back, we must have a hard time." Luffy. "I don't want to be beaten. It hurts the most when Grandpa hits someone." Sabo. "Ahem, I think we should hold on to Grandpa's thigh tightly. No matter how presumptuous Grandpa is, we don't dare to be presumptuous in front of Grandpa. If Grandpa trained Grandpa before, then Grandpa must have been beaten a lot. They are convinced by great-grandfather's method. No matter from which aspect, it can make them speechless. You are good at them, he can do better than you, stronger than you. Be stronger every time, so that you have hope, study hard, exercise hard, thinking that you can surpass your grandfather. Unexpectedly, every time it is a little bit close. It's a little short, or a little bit, they still don't understand, it's the grandfather who let the water go. And Grandpa, in addition to beating, he was still beating. I never tell you anything else. Compared with Grandpa, Grandpa is a rascal, a reckless guy who only knows how to beat people with his fists. This kind of reckless man is the most terrifying, you can't reason with him." The three of them were extremely frustrated. They only sighed when they knew Grandpa. Even if there is Grandpa here, Grandpa should beat you, he still has to beat you. Luffy. "Why don't you try it?" Ace urged, "You are a rubber man, so you shouldn't be afraid of Grandpa's fist." Luffy laughed loudly. "Ace, do you want me to die? Who doesn't know that his rubber physique is useless in front of Grandpa? You see, when Grandpa beat him, he didn't use anything. When he punched him, his rubber physique collapsed instantly. Grandpa's fighting power is even stronger, okay. How can a Grandpa who is in naval headquarters be weaker? Don't say you are Paramecia devil fruit, even Logia devil fruit is useless in front of Grandpa." "Haha, no, isn't this curiosity?" Sabo said, "Luffy, you can try it, maybe there will be surprises?" Together, the two encouraged Luffy to test the waters. After more than a year of stepping on the pit, Luffy has learned to be smart. "My two big brothers are scammers, and I want to cheat myself at any time. You can't be fooled, once you are fooled, you will be beaten. I don't want it, I'm going to try it, you guys try it yourself." Luffy sternly rejected the two of them. He didn't want to die. In front of Grandpa and great-grandpa, any method is a way to die. It's better to practice quietly and do nothing. What if they don't hit themselves? If you die, you will definitely be beaten. Ace continued to persuade. "Luffy, are you scared?" Sabo said with a smile. "If you are afraid, you can say that the big brothers will help you." Luffy chuckled. "You think I don't know what you two are thinking? Don't even think about it." On the sea level, a warship appeared. At first it was a black dot, which gradually became clear, and then, the flag of Marine could be seen. The warship approached, slowly approaching the island. On the boat, two people got off, a man and a woman. Two people who are not young, but they are older, walking together, give people the feeling that they are a couple. Accompanied by the partners on the left and right, they set foot on the homeland. They squatted down and stroked the land. The familiar land, I haven't come back for a long time. Xiaohei caressed the ground, it was the same as the island back then, nothing changed. In the world that rotates at high speed, big events break out every year, and the turmoil in the new world continues. In other countries that are constantly fighting, with the emergence of pirates, the chaos has never stopped. They are busy with work, arrest this pirate today, and arrest that pirate tomorrow. The daily life arrangements are full, even at this age, they still do it by themselves. Many things, done by hand, are different from what was ordered. Have you not been back for a long time, Xiaohei? Yeah. Xiaohei picked up a handful of sand and let it leak from his fingers. She looked up at her hometown, where she lived since childhood, without being influenced by the outside world. Here, most of the villagers are simple and honest, and they live carefree lives. Never look forward to the outside world, a quiet island without struggle. It coincides with the island in the impression, unchanged. It has not changed for so many years, except for this island, there are many other islands as well. Xiaohei. Do you want to go home first? Xiaohei nodded. I want to go back and have a look, but I haven't been back for a long time. Do you want me to go back with you? Xiaohei shook his head. I can do it myself, you go and do your work. Waving, the two separated. Xiaohei first went back to his own home to take a look. A few years ago, Xiaohei's parents were gone. All gone. There is no one else at home, and she rarely comes back. At this age, the family is gone. What needs to go is gone. After all, Xiaohei's parents are different from Chen Qingtian in that they have a long life. Live a long time, by the looks of it, for a long time. Garp is also afraid of his father leaving, and his mother leaving him early. He can no longer lose his father. But, life has an end. Everything has a lifespan. When it arrives, it should go. Come back once a year, Garp set a plan for himself. Look at the grandchildren, then look at the father, for fear that after parting, it will be a farewell forever. Every time he comes back, Garp can't contain his inner excitement. Soldiers are used to Garp's behavior. Men who go home don't want other people to follow them, and so do they. Each of them went to do their own things, supplies for supplies, and bought things that should be bought. The food on the warship is almost used up and needs to be replenished. There are also some shells that need to be replenished. When I come back, fighting is indispensable. I can always meet pirates who don't have long eyes. When I see a warship, I want to rush to fight. When he got to the door of the house, Garp didn't hear the sound. He walked in and looked around, but couldn't find his father and the others. He knew that he must have gone to practice. Walk slowly, walking on familiar roads, forests, and mountains. And the cliff that is vivid in my eyes. Every time I see the cliff, I can always think of the happy time when I was a child. At that time, they were often beaten, scolded by their father, and cried a lot. Now, they have become grandpas. Thinking of his father's actions again, he really lamented his father's good intentions. They suffer hardships in the early stage, but in the later stage, they can enjoy dividends. At least, they are able to live till now. Father, thanks a lot. When I came to the foot of the mountain, I saw 3 figures, and they were practicing hard. That look is very similar to them back then. I really miss it. The mountain is still the same mountain, unchanged. Garp stepped forward, feeling the mountain. With different feelings, he watched the 3 little ones bicker and compete with each other. In order to be the first, work hard to charge. I don't want to be the last one. This scene is similar to Zheng. Very nice. It's nice to be young. Sighing a few words, he looked at his grandchildren. 1 and 2 were very good. After cultivating to this level, their foundation seems to have been solidified a lot. Sure enough, my father is still a professional. Look at the 3 of them, they have a solid foundation. It is much better than exercising by yourself. A father is a father, and he can formulate different plans according to the different physiques of each person. It will also follow your preferences and will not remain static. Everyone has their own plans and ideas, and later, they will change according to them. At this moment, the foundation is also gradually catching up. Luffy, the youngest, played the basics very well. 3 people, 3 good teeth. I'll be a marine from now on. The old man has worked hard for a while. Take them out as teachers, and by then, they will be the main force of the new generation of marine. The new generation of marine has been cultivating. In every era, the next generation will be cultivated. After all, the next generation is what matters. Pirates, Dingtian was brilliant during that period. After that, it fell. As for marine, in order to keep thriving, the emphasis is on training. If the current generation can do it, cultivate the next generation. It cannot be faulted, and if it is faulted, the consequences will be very serious. The 3 little ones reached the top, and the 3 of them sat down happily, relaxing for the hard work of this journey. They all felt strange gazes and that horrible tingling feeling at the same time. Behind them, there seemed to be a fierce beast staring at the 3 of them. Look back together, dare not look alone. One look, Grandpa Garp was standing behind, smiling at them. What? Ah, grandfather, when did you come? The 3 jumped up in fright and dared not sit still. They didn't dare to get too close to Grandpa, so they pulled the distance away one after another. Like a child who has done something wrong, afraid of being scolded by his parents. The actions of the 3 fell into Garp's eyes, and he smiled even more. He, Luffy, Ace, Sabo, long time no see, miss Grandpa. The 3 little guys will become marines in the future. When the time comes, Grandpa will take good care of the 3 of you. The 3 of them wanted to shake their heads, but when they saw the terrifying eyes of their grandfather, they nodded unwillingly. Grandpa's eyes were very threatening, and they dared to shake their heads and were beaten immediately. Think. They answered one word in unison, and they were extremely reluctant in their hearts. Haha, very good. Grandpa knows that you miss Grandpa. No, Grandpa is back to see you. Are you happy? Walk over and pat the heads of the 3 little ones, one by one. The 3 of them dared not speak out. It is only natural for a grandfather to hit his grandson on the head. The 3 of them nodded, but they could only nod, not daring to shake their heads. Grandpa doesn't like others to say no. Whoever says it will have to experience Grandpa's love. Just be happy, come on, give Grandpa a smile. The 3 wanted to cry, but they couldn't laugh. The sadness in my heart, who can know? If you can't laugh, you have to laugh. In front of Grandpa, they dare not resist, nor dare to have disobedient thoughts. After experiencing the horror of the great-grandfather, they found that the old man is very scary. Their thoughts and brain circuits are different from normal people, and occasionally some strange ideas will emerge. And the 3 of them are experimental products, guinea pigs who were crazily experimented by grandpas. All happiness and unhappiness, anger or excitement, need to be vented on them. I'm happy, I have to beat them up to celebrate. I'm not happy, I'm sorry, the 3 of you come here and make Grandpa happy. All in all, they are Grandpa's pistachios. Being beaten was the most normal thing. To be precise, it was love, the love from Grandpa. What the 3 of them lacked was also the love they needed most. Garp said to Luffy, "Hey, Luffy, don't you look very welcoming to Grandpa? Just you, Luffy, don't go. Come here for lousy, don't struggle, don't play for lousy." Luffy was caught. Garp tugged, and then he realized something was wrong. Luffy's face is elongated, very long, beyond the length of ordinary people's face. Keep pulling, still stretching. Pulling hard, letting go, Luffy's face retracted, bouncing all over his face. Luffy said angrily, "Grandpa, what are you doing? It hurts. I don't know why, but after being pulled by my grandfather, it hurts so much. Usually being pulled by Ace and the others, there will be no pain." Without further ado, Garp punched Luffy hard on the top of the head. One punch is not enough, another punch. After 3 punches, he felt unsatisfied and wanted to keep punching Luffy. Luffy wouldn't stand up and beat him. She hid behind her great-grandfather, found a backer, and prevented her from beating her up. "Luffy, come here." Garp hooked and let Luffy come by himself. Luffy shook his head. "No, I don't want to. My head hurts. Grandpa is crazy." Is he crazy to beat his grandson in person? Ace and Sabo stepped back 3 meters away from the dangerous person. Grandpa Garp is more dangerous than great-grandpa. Getting angry at every turn and hitting people at every turn, they can't bear it. You can never guess his heart, and you don't know when Grandpa will hit someone. It's better for my great-grandfather, at least I will give you a chance to choose, and you won't be beaten for no reason. Luffy, come over to Grandpa, come here, Grandpa won't hit you. Garp lures Luffy over, promising not to hit him. Luffy continues to shake his head. Grandpa's words cannot be taken seriously. If you take it seriously, you will die a miserable death. Grabbing Chen Qingtian's clothes, he refused to go there. Smart Luffy, knowing that his great-grandfather is here, he dare not be too presumptuous. Sure enough, just as he thought, Grandpa took 2 steps forward, not daring to go any further. Garp met his father's eyes, and he sighed, "Luffy, when did you eat devil fruit?" Not seen in a while, grandson Luffy eats devil fruit. He couldn't accept this shocking news. Through simple beating and experimentation, grandson Luffy's devil fruit Garp knows what it is. Paramecia devil fruit rubber fruit. The body is like rubber, stretchable, elastic, and can return to its original shape. As for the form, Garp doesn't care about that. What he cares about is where Luffy eats devil fruit. Could it be that his father gave it to him? Looking at his father with scrutiny, Chen Qingtian waved his hand. "Ahem, it's none of my business, this guy stole the devil fruit himself." Garp asked, "Where did the devil fruit come from?" Garp didn't believe that devil fruit would suddenly appear in front of Luffy, and it happened that he ate it. No one would believe such words. Chen Qingtian said helplessly, "This matter, you have to ask your precious grandson. What he did, he knows best." Back to Luffy. Garp stared at Luffy sharply, wanting to know the answer. At this moment, he really wanted to grab Luffy and hit him. Luffy hemmed and hawed out the general idea, not daring to say too much, for fear of being torn apart by his grandpa. After listening to his grandson's explanation, Garp became numb. He asked, "Father, why is that Shanks guy here?" He also just found out about this news. Redhead Shanks has entered East Blue. They had received the news earlier. It's just that he didn't expect so many things to happen when he came here. Garp held his forehead, unimaginable. "You ask me, who should I ask?" Chen Qingtian rolled his eyes and said, "I'm here to accompany them. Well, who knows that Kid Shanks will come here, maybe to see Roger." Roger, a dead king. For this name, they rarely mention it. "I'm afraid that Ace will be unhappy if he finds out." Garp nodded. Shanks was originally an intern of Roger Pirates. With this relationship, it is not surprising that Shanks will come to East Blue. It was an accident to come to Windmill Village. Unexpectedly, his father and grandson met him. Wait, father knows Roger, so what about Shanks? Thinking of this, Garp looked at his father with eyes, and asked weakly, Father, do you know Shanks? It's considered acquaintance. Chen Qingtian replied with a nod. Very familiar? Good. Father, are you hiding something from me? No, Garp continued to ask, but Chen Qingtian didn't want to answer him. One problem, baby, you should discipline your grandson well and don't trouble me. I don't want to mess with you. Garp can't help it, his father can't handle it by himself, he can only K his grandson. Luffy, come here. I'll count to 3, come here quickly. Luffy shook his head, desperately resisting. Can't beat him to death. Garp's veins bulged. Luffy, don't think that hiding behind your grandfather's back means I can't do anything about you. Grandpa really wants to touch you, it doesn't matter where you hide. Think about it for yourself, and I'll wait for your answer. After waiting for half a quarter of an hour, Luffy came out, aggrieved him, and asked Ace and Sabo for help. Ace and Sabo shook their heads, not wanting to meddle in their affairs. Sorry, Luffy, we can't help you. The two turned around at the same time, and went to look at the scenery. Luffy is left alone, facing his terrifying grandpa. When grandpa and grandson meet, Garp smiles and punches. Luffy, die for lousy. No, grandpa, don't hit me. Grandpa, don't. Grandpa, please, let me go. Grandpa, I was wrong, and I dare not do it again. Oh, grandpa, don't hit me, it hurts. Grandma Xiaohei, help me, hoot. Grandma Xiaohei, help me, don't let grandpa hit me again, I was wrong, please. The object of begging has changed. Begging grandpa is useless. Begging grandma Xiaohei, who is beside grandpa. Xiaohei, from a young girl to an aunt, and then to a grandma, has gone through a long journey. Garp, almost done. Xiaohei intervened and advised, how can you beat a child so hard? The child is still young, what if you beat him? Hearing this sentence, Luffy, as if hearing an angel whispering, was happy, excited. With an aggrieved expression, he nodded along with Grandma Xiaohei's words, and he very much agreed with Grandma Xiaohei's words. He is still a child, how can he treat himself like this? Child abuse, be careful, I will report you, believe it or not, I will beat the demon, let the police uncle catch you. Come on, son, come to grandma. Reaching out, grabbing Luffy and coming up to Garp, stop beating. To save Xiaohei from hitting his grandson Luffy, he turned to look at the other two. Ace and Sabo turned around and ran away without saying a word. I'm sorry, Grandpa, we don't want to be beaten, we can only run. The two ran separately. Garp sneered. HMPH, two boys, do you think you can escape? The old man told you to run 300 meters, but I can still catch you. It's useless, don't make unnecessary resistance, boys. Garp chased after him and followed behind Ace. Poor Ace looked back and saw the scary grandpa behind him, ready to catch him at any time. At this moment, he was crazy. Why did he come to catch himself? Grandpa, let me go. Okay. What do you say, Ace? With one hand, he grabbed Ace and couldn't resist. Running away is useless. He was held down like a bird. After Garp caught him, he dodged and came to another direction. Appeared behind Sabo. Under Sabo's frightened gaze, he raised his hand. Sabo. Two people, lift up. One person with one hand, just to carry them. I said, two. Do you still want to run? The two shook their heads. With a bitter face, he kept apologizing. They don't want to be spanked by Grandpa, it's terrible, Grandpa. Luffy looked here curiously, his small eyes widened, and he was a qualified melon eater. Grandma Xiaohei, will Grandpa beat them? Xiaohei smiled and said, sure, none of you three can escape. Look at Luffy again, not like Drago, nor like Garp. The three are different, Kajin must belong to their family. Just the same goofy look as Garp. Luffy. Grandma Xiaohei. What's the matter? Xiaohei smiled and looked at Luffy. Luffy was startled by Xiaohei's grandma's smile. He choked up and asked, Grandma Xiaohei, why are you looking at me like that? I'm so scared. Xiaohei comforted. Don't be afraid, Grandma Xiaohei won't do anything to you. It's not just your Grandpa Garp who's in danger, kids. And me, I'm a dangerous person too. Come on, boy. Take the beating well. Ever since, a violent beating officially began. Two old men chased and beat three boys. Garp beat two people alone, Ace and Sabo, who had no power to resist, and ran away all the way, and were beaten badly. The screams continued, and the two of them were scarred after a while. They couldn't run anymore, they were beaten and wanted to resist. If you were beaten even more severely, you can't do without resistance. Even if you are beaten, you must resist. If I can beat my grandfather, maybe I can be happy for a while. The two fighting, launched an attack. It's useless, their strength, speed, or various skills are far inferior to Garp. There is a huge difference in strength, and they are not of the same grade. Resistance is futile, but the two have no regrets. It was Luffy instead, regretting it. He didn't expect Grandma Xiaohei to be more ruthless than Grandpa. Attack towards the tricky parts, where is vulnerable, attack where. Severe beatings, one-on-one teaching. Compared with Ace and Sabo, he is obviously the worst. What? Grandma Xiaohei, stop beating me. It hurts, I was wrong, Grandma Xiaohei. Whoa, don't hit me again. Grandma Xiaohei, stop. Please, Grandma Xiaohei. The kindly Grandma Xiaohei is now a scary old witch. The attack was fierce, surpassing Grandpa. Can't resist, the fruit ability is useless in front of Grandma Xiaohei. His body, like clothes, is soft. When touched, it instantly softened. Hit casually, you can't resist. Compared with Ace and Sabo, at least someone can share it, and I alone have endured the pressure that this age cannot bear. Begging and pretending to be pitiful are useless. His tricks are all useless at Grandma Xiaohei's place. The louder the screaming, the worse the beating. Luffy, desperate. Don't yell, just look at the sky quietly. Letting Grandma Xiaohei beat him up, he was in despair. In a quarter of an hour. After the beating ended, Luffy lay on the ground, unable to move. His body was beaten violently with varying degrees of intensity. Limp body, unable to get up. The same is true for Ace and Sabo, all three of them have been cared for once. Luffy looked at Ace and Sabo who were not far away, and begged, Ace, Sabo, help me. I'm miserable and I need you to help me. The people who eat melons have become the ones who are eaten melons, and the only person in the audience who is qualified to be the people who eat melons is Grandpa. He is not qualified. Poor him, he thought he had found a backer, but who knew, this backer was a bit of a backer. A backstab, this knife, made Luffy unacceptable. Ace shook his head, he couldn't help Luffy, he couldn't protect himself, and he didn't have the strength to help his younger brother. Sabo also shook his head, he was in danger and couldn't help them. Survive. Don't think about resisting. Three people, sighing to each other. The terrible grandparents are too ruthless, none of them can resist. Luffy, come on, Grandpa will stay with you for a while. Luffy was brought up by Garp, at this moment, Luffy refused. He wants to resist and doesn't want to be educated by his grandfather. Garp lifts Luffy up, lifts his foot. Luffy, didn't Grandpa tell you not to eat indiscriminately? Have you listened to Grandpa? It's okay to eat indiscriminately, you still eat devil fruit. Steal someone else's devil fruit to put yourself at a disadvantage. Devil fruit, if you can't eat it, don't eat it. Now that you have eaten it, welcome Grandpa's love. Do not. Take off. Luffy, come up. Luffy, who soars in the sky, looks at his grandpa and the others away from him. All the way up to the highest point, he looked down, very high and very dangerous. Ah. Help. Don't want. Falling is scary. Faster and faster, driven by acceleration, he fell very fast. It was beyond the scope of Luffy's control, even with experience, at this moment, he was very scared. Because, there is a grandpa waiting for him below. The fall to the ground was caught, he saw Grandpa, and then flew up again. Just like that, he flew up and fell. After more than 10 times, he officially touched the ground. Blink. The past 3 days. These 3 days have been a nightmare for the three of Luffy. Every day when I go to bed, my dream is full of scenes of being beaten, which cannot be avoided. Grandpa and Grandma Xiaohei followed them like a nightmare. The terrifying duo, day and night, beat them up whenever they could. All their previous petty tricks and cleverness seemed useless in front of the two old men. The humble ones, longing for the only time to rest, came in the morning. They go out early, and whoever is last will have horrors befall them. The attitude towards cultivation has never been higher, and the three of them love to practice. Rather than being beaten mercilessly by the two of them, it is better to go to practice. Although it is a bit hard, at least you don't have to be beaten. When grandparents fight, it's a horror. If you can't bear it, you might as well go to practice early. Even so, they still have to face the torment of their grandfather Garp, who will throw stones at them during their practice. Garp, standing behind him, keeps playing with small rocks and flicks them lightly. Who the target is, obviously, the last one. Occasionally it is the person who is lazy. Whoever dares to be lazy, sorry, you will be sanctioned. Chen Qingtian watched quietly. Garp's behavior was certainly hateful. It's not unacceptable, the three little ones are floating, and no one can hold them down. I always think that I am invincible in the world, so I have to let people educate them well. Xiaohei, standing by the side, watched with Chen Qingtian. Xiaohei's eyes were more focused on Chen Qingtian, sizing him up and observing him carefully. After a long time, Xiaohei asked, "Uncle, why don't you seem to be old?" Appearance, same as before. He was an old man, but not as old as he thought. Chen Qingtian, who is full of energy, feels like an old man to her, but he is still a long time away from dying. The faint vitality can be clearly felt. Really? Chen Qingtian yawned and said, maybe it's well maintained. It may also be that the environment here is good, the air is fresh, there are no worries, and every day is free and carefree. Didn't you say that? The environment can affect a person's lifespan. Chen Qingtian was chattering, and he was also looking at Xiaohei. Old, getting older every year. Years are like a butcher's knife. The little beauty back then is now stepping into the ranks of grandma. In a few years, I am afraid that I will be older than myself. Is it like this? Xiaohei thought carefully, it seemed like this, he had too many things to do and couldn't take a good rest. Rest time is very important and indispensable. Suddenly, he envied Chen Qingtian's life. It turns out, uncle, you are the one who lived the most thoroughly. What I didn't understand back then seems to have found the answer at this moment. Chen Qingtian has strength, but he doesn't go far away to make a living. Instead, living here for the elderly and lying dead is good, but Xiaohei doesn't understand. Now, when I am old, I gradually understand that this kind of life is good. It's only uncle that you can stay in this state forever. It can't be done by another person. Powerful people want more things. For example, dreams, wealth, beauties, whatever you like. Haha. Chen Qingtian laughed loudly. You can too, Xiaohei. When the time comes, you will come back and accompany uncle to take care of the elderly. How nice it is. Xiaohei was startled when she heard this. She shook her head. I want to too, but I can't. Her status does not allow her to retire. In Marine, many things are waiting for her to deal with. How can lie dead? Chen Qingtian shook his head. Everyone has different ideas and cannot force their ideas. Whatever they want, whatever they want. After watching for a while, Garp gradually began to increase the number of attacks. The three little ones were miserable, and they never thought that they could not escape the torment of their grandpa when they came to practice. Grandpa, it was horrible. The screams continued. The abuse continued. Grandpa, don't play anymore. We're mad, Grandpa. Grandpa, can you let us practice hard? We're going to get stronger. I can't be bullied all the time. The three people's desire for strength skyrocketed again. Not for anything else, just for one day, to give Grandpa a good beating. They can't always be the one being bullied, have to fight back, can't be a coward. Endure the pain and continue to practice. Garp, the happier he is, the harder the kids work, the happier he is. The seeds of Marine's future are there, and the three of them will be the backbone of Marine in the future. It is not impossible to give them some time to grow into the strongest combat force. The future is beautiful. Garp prayed and longed inwardly. In the future, my grandchildren will accompany me and take over my business. Think about it, how happy I am. Son, there is no hope. If the tuba is useless, find a trumpet to practice. Possibly, the truth always backfires. Will the three of them become Marines? In the future, it will be revealed. In a flash, it was afternoon. Garp didn't stare at the three little ones and let them practice freely. Due to the terror suppressed in the morning, the three little ones practiced crazily. Garp was even more relieved not to allow himself to fall behind. They're all good boys. In the future, it will be a qualified Marine. It's the same sentence, the same sentence. Hearing this, Chen Qingtian burst into a smile. Puff. Garp. Let's talk about the future, don't expect too much. Chen Qingtian pities Garp. Son, you may be disappointed. They will fight against you in the future. Anyone who wants to do things with you, and who doesn't want to die, can't agree. Father, you don't like them. Facing Garp's questioning, Chen Qingtian shook his head. Wrong, it's not that I don't like them. On the contrary, I like the three of them very much. I just don't like you. Garp dissatisfied. Father, do you think I can't do it? No, Chen Qingtian shook his head and said, you can, but I don't believe they will join the army. Shaking his head, don't talk about this topic. Lest Garp be unhappy. Xiaohei didn't say a word, and with the lessons learned from Drago, maybe those three people wouldn't feel at ease as a Marine. Besides, Marine is also worried about Garp. I don't want to cultivate an enemy. Look at Drago, what he has done over the years has made him a dangerous person in one fell swoop. Garp, when are you leaving? Garp looked at his father in astonishment and smiled bitterly. Tomorrow, father. Not for long, just a few days. Enough is enough. Garp is not in a hurry to go back. Xiaohei also wants to go back. Too much to juggle without her. Xiaohei's role is not comparable to that of Garp. Garp, now he doesn't care about anything, it's no big deal, just let him play. Xiaohei is a staff officer, and she needs to advise on many things, so she can't leave for too long. Tomorrow. Chen Qingtian stroked his chin. Don't you stay a few more days? Xiaohei. No, uncle. Garp. Father, we're busy. Chen Qingtian sighed. Oh, what a pity. A day later, Garp was leaving. Saying goodbye to Grandpa, San Xiaoji exhausted all his acting skills. Luffy hugged Grandpa's thigh and shouted, Grandpa, don't go. Grandson doesn't want you to go. Woo-hoo, Grandpa. Sincerely and sincerely, the appearance of crying bitterly is too tearful. Luffy hugged Garp hard, not wanting to let him go. The hand seems to be pulling, but in fact, it is pushing outward. His movements are subtle, and his voice is the main attraction. Ace followed Luffy's example, pulled his grandfather's clothes and said, Grandpa, are you really leaving? 3 people, each with rich expressions. Is it crying, or smiling? Chen Qingtian and Xiaohei held hands and watched them perform. It was a scene of deep love between grandparents and grandchildren. You really have so much love. The screen suddenly jumped up. Garp was overwhelmed by the enthusiasm of the grandchildren. I didn't expect Garp to be so popular. Children grow up and understand that they are for their own good. Luffy, Ace, Sabo, Grandpa has to go. Garp said, Grandpa is very busy and has to go to work. You are obedient at home, okay? Luffy was the first to object. No, I don't want Grandpa to go. I want Grandpa to accompany me. Ace. Grandpa, is it okay if you don't go? Sabo, stay? The 3 of them said so on their lips, but they had another thought in their hearts. Luffy said in his heart, Grandpa, hurry up. What are you doing, dawdling? Ace shouted in his heart. Damn it, why is Grandpa still not leaving? I can't continue acting. Sabo. It's over, I don't even know what to say. Sabo watched Luffy and Ace perform. He didn't know what to say. Ace was almost speechless too, it was so disgusting. He didn't want to say some things. If he didn't want Grandpa to leave quickly, he wouldn't say it if he was killed. Luffy, don't worry about anything. What to say, he just wants Grandpa to leave quickly and not to torture him. Not wanting to be beaten, Luffy was really scared. Luffy, Ace, Sabo, Grandpa must go. Next time, Grandpa will come to accompany you earlier next time, okay? Grandpa will definitely stay longer next time, don't be sad. Hearing what Grandpa said, the 3 of Ace were struck by lightning. F*K. Grandpa doesn't want it. Don't come back next time, just keep busy with your affairs, okay? It's very good here, if you come back, don't stay too long, just leave after a meal. Luffy complained about Grandpa in his heart, but on the surface he still had to pretend. Grandpa, you must come back early next time. Garp helped Luffy up. Okay, Grandpa promises you. There are steps to step down from each other, and the next step can be completed. Luffy and Garp parted, well. After the performance, Luffy was flushed with pain. He squeezed out a tear and sent Grandpa off. Reluctantly, Ace moved forward step by step, trying to keep Garp. The acting skills of the 3 have really grown a lot. At least with their current acting skills, they are ready to be masters. Witnessing Grandpa leave, I am sure he will not look back. Luffy sat down on his ass, gasping for breath. Finally go, damn old man. If you want to stay and beat me, it's impossible. Ace complained. Damn it, it tortures me so much, these days, I want to die. Sabo. Actually, I'm fine. Hard-talking people are still talking hard. Sabo's words drew common complaints from Luffy and Ace. Why didn't I see you say this when you shouted? Luffy. You go and accompany Grandpa. Ace. Since you don't think there is anything wrong, I'll ask my great-grandpa to take you there. Chen Qingtian cooperated with them, took a step forward, and asked with a smile. Sabo, do you need your grandfather to help you? Sabo's face turned pale, and he shook his head violently. No, no. Just kidding. Just out of the wolf's den, you have to fix this for me. Do you think I am tired of living? Find something for me to do. Hanging around with Grandpa, forget it, it's a nightmare. Hee hee. That's not what you said just now, Luffy sneered. Sabo touched his head. Hee hee. This is not just pretending to be aggressive, don't take it seriously. HMPH. Luffy snorted coldly, continuing to despise Sabo. My own people, you still come to pretend. Ace and Luffy despise Sabo, the most infighting person is you. The three of them celebrated Grandpa's departure, and they almost missed setting off firecrackers. If you can, it's okay to set off a firework. Without Grandpa to torture them by the side, their cultivation attitudes are different. Chen Qingtian shook his head and smiled bitterly. These three people. He knew exactly what the three little ones were thinking. That is to say, that guy Garp couldn't see through, thinking they were really trying to keep him. My stupid son. On board. Garp said, Xiaohei, do you see that Luffy and the others love me very much? Sure enough, the old man didn't love them for nothing, and they still know how to keep the old man. Move. The old man's girlish heart is bursting at this moment. Xiaohei pouted. Hee hee. Give you a mocking smile, good words are nothing, you still can't understand. They are not trying to keep you, they just want you to leave quickly. Maybe the three of them are celebrating your departure right now, do you really think they are trying to keep you? What are you laughing at? Xiaohei, I see you are jealous of me, they kept me, but not you. Garp said loudly. You are not as good as the old man. They remember the goodness of the old man because the old man is good to them, but you have not been retained. Like a victor, Garp held his head high. He pursed her lips and took a deep breath. She was convinced by Garp's elmhead. It's really stupid to be true, you should eat some walnuts to replenish your brain. HMPH, I told you right, Xiaohei, you envy me, ah ha ha. Garp, who laughed wildly, taunted Xiaohei mercilessly. Xiaohei was even more speechless, are you really stupid or fake? Can't you see such obvious acting? As long as you are happy. What else can Xiaohei say? After you have said that, she can only silently give Garp a thumbs up. Maybe it's good for people to be a little silly sometimes. At least for many things, he saw the surface and didn't delve into it. Of course I am happy. My grandchildren like me. I must accompany them next time. Garp made up his mind to accompany them well. Xiaohei pursed his lips. Just as long as you like it. OMG. Garp, you really convince me. Forget it, don't worry about those things, as long as he is happy. Someday. One morning after Garp and they left. A ship came to the front of the island, an ordinary merchant ship, and the arrival of the ship did not cause much movement. The islanders who are used to it are busy with their own affairs, and only one person got on and off the boat. Wearing a cloak, set foot on this island. The small island, because of the arrival of a person, set off a breeze. The breeze is gentle, and it shaves the face warmly. He lifted his hat and carefully watched the familiar place. Windmill Village, long time no see. Back to the familiar place, looking at everything familiar, that mountain, that village, that person, nothing changed. Just like the buildings in memory, the surrounding streets, and the signboards hanging under the eaves are the same as before. Standing on both sides of the street, Dorag put on his hat again. His identity is special and sensitive, and he cannot be recognized by others. In order not to cause unnecessary trouble, it is better to hide it, it is good for Fengcha village, and it is also good for myself. The pure land on earth cannot be destroyed by some people. Back in the alley back then, Drago stroked the wall and looked at the trash can, which was still there. The years have added a bit of color, and there are a lot of rust on it. The trash can that is cleaned every day has endured the pain that can be endured over the years. Jumping to the roof, Dorag stared down, overlooking everything that had passed. When I was a child, I felt that the roof was very high, and I couldn't reach it. Now, I can stand on it with a light jump. Look around. Every inch of the place, into the eyes. Very familiar place. It's been a long time, and it's for the buildings here. I am back. This sentence is for those people. Some are gone, and some are still there. They live out what they want, work at sunrise and rest at sunset. Dorag appreciates the hard-working people who work hard for 3 meals. It is like this every year, without too much desire, and without inflated ambitions. Live with peace of mind, free and carefree, what a beautiful life. Call. His eyes shifted to the mountain. The mountain peaks covered with flowers, plants and trees are sparsely populated from a distance. Many people don't like to go into the deep mountains, where there are many wild beasts and the risk factor is high. Moreover, there are terrifying people inside, and it would be very dangerous for ordinary people to enter. Not going into the deep mountains has become the rule of the people here. Not afraid of death, you can go in. There are not many people who make trouble, and after going in, there are not many people who come out. Jumping off, Drago slowly set off towards the mountain. The time of nostalgia has passed, and his nostalgia for this town is the same. The mountain is the place he wants to think about. Soon, he reached the top of the mountain. Seeing a familiar place, he didn't appear immediately, but stood aside. Watching from a distance, not approaching, the body is covered by a big tree. Just watching, he doesn't bother the people inside. With no one in the house, Drago headed in the other direction. Seeing the three little ones practicing, Luffy was among them. Drago immediately recognized Luffy, a silly kid who practiced with the big brothers. Not far from the three little ones, that is, on the top of the mountain, Chen Qingtian was lying on it. Leisurely, drinking tea, singing little songs, raising Erlang's legs. How comfortable, how comfortable. His life has entered into a state of retirement. The old-age grandfather really doesn't care about anything, and lives the same life as before. Grandpa is still the same as before, nothing has changed. Whispering to himself, Dorag looked at Grandpa. Just staring at him, he found Grandpa looking over. For a moment, Drago was surprised that he had been discovered, just a look, and he was discovered by his grandfather. Grandpa is still so strong, with one look, he can find my position in an instant. Grandpa and grandson meet each other and smile at each other. Recognizing each other, Chen Qingtian stood up and flexed his muscles. Dodge, disappear in place. The mountain, as if blowing a gust of wind. The three little ones who practiced felt a gust of wind blowing by, looked up, and there was no grandfather. The three of them were puzzled. Where did Grandpa go? Luffy asked curiously. Ace, do you think your great-grandfather has left? A heart that is just about to move, thinking about running away at any time. Ace frowned. I don't know, Luffy, what do you want? Sabo advises. Luffy, don't do stupid things. Grandpa might just go to have a pee. It's best not to do anything. Of the three, Luffy is the one who can do things the most. Once he does it, it must be no small matter. Ace and Sabo keep an eye on Luffy to keep him from messing around. The practice of harming the fish in the pond will easily cause them to suffer. Luffy sneered. What are you two afraid of? Isn't it just Grandpa? Others are not here. What are you afraid of? Let's go. Didn't you say you found a good place and you want to take me to play? A few days ago, they went out occasionally and found a good place. There's a lot of good stuff in it, as well as weird people. They were careful not to be noticed by those people, and today, Luffy wanted to go with them. Coincidentally, the absence of great-grandfather is an opportunity. Ace refused. No, that place is too dangerous, you can't go. Sabo shook his head. Forget it, Luffy, practice with peace of mind. Don't think about those messy things. When Grandpa comes back, you won't be able to eat and walk around. Cultivation must be completed. If you are lazy, you will face more severe punishment. He didn't want to offend his great-grandpa because of this bastard Luffy. If he wanted to offend, he would offend him himself. Anyway, he wouldn't. The two big brothers refused to make trouble, so Luffy had no choice but to practice with peace of mind. Naturally, I didn't forget to complain in my heart that the two big brothers were cowards, and they were too timid to act. The other side of the mountain. A place that the three little ones will never see, and a place they will never come to. Chen Qingtian folded his hands, followed by the respectful Drago, who didn't say a word, like a wrong daughter-in-law, who dared not make a sound. One after the other, the two stopped. Chen Qingtian turned around and asked, Dorag, why are you back at this time? A month ago, I received news that Dorag would come back. Unexpectedly, it was delayed until today. It is too late. If you came back earlier, you might be able to meet your father Garp. That kid Garp came back to see Luffy and the others not long ago. Drago was taken aback, but didn't pay attention. When I meet my father, it's better not to meet, lest I will be mad at my father. Drago also didn't want to meet his father, it was very embarrassing. After that kind of incident happened, it is estimated that his father still had some anger in his heart. But you don't like seeing your father either, hey? Chen Qingtian saw what Drago was thinking at a glance, and didn't continue talking about that matter. Come back suddenly, did you encounter any problems? Drago shook his head. No. I just want to come back to see Luffy, to see how he is doing, whether he is naughty, whether he is causing trouble for you, Grandpa. When I came back, I saw that Grandpa had 3 children and had a good life. With 3 more children, Grandpa's life is rich and beautiful. Not like they were back then, quiet, except for the 2 of them, just the 2 of them, how boring. With 2 more children, life will be a lot more fun. Isn't it fun to fight with them? Didn't you see it? How do you feel? Chen Qingtian asked back. Don't you know the character of your own son? Our family has strong genes and the ability to make trouble is truly invincible. Big ones, small ones, all the same. 1 or 2, no one is reassuring. On the contrary, Garp is the one who is the most worry-free person. When he joined the Marine, he behaved well. When he was young, he wandered around and made troubles. Now he is old and stable. He knows whether many things are worth doing. Drago walked out of the Marine and slapped his father Garp in the face, which caused a lot of trouble for Sengoku and Xiaohei. If it weren't for the people above, Drago would be in a very dangerous situation. Fortunately, his strength is not bad, and few people can stop him if he wants to leave. As for Garp, he didn't want to care about Drago's affairs at all. He was sad, he couldn't help his son what to do, so he had to turn a blind eye. The tuba was useless, he chose to practice the trumpet, Drago was useless, and Luffy was still there. He also has that precious grandson, they must be cultivated to become talents, and they cannot be allowed to become marines or revolutionaries. Marine is king, is legitimate, and stands in front of justice. No, Drago's face was dark and he didn't want to speak. He heard all of Luffy's words. Son of a dog, really a son of a dog. As soon as there is movement, I immediately want to make trouble. It seems that he is not a worry-free person. Your own son, don't you discipline him well? Drago shook his head, he just came back to see Luffy, he didn't want to do too many unnecessary things. Maybe, we won't even meet each other. Chen Qingtian was speechless, he was indeed my grandson, his personality was exactly the same. Once it gets stubborn, 10 cows can't pull it. Your own son, you can do whatever you want, I don't care, if you want to see him, go see him, if you don't want to see him, don't see him. Maybe Luffy has forgotten what you look like, you, father, are dispensable. Dorag, children need company and love. You haven't seen Luffy for a long time, so it's rare to come back and see each other? Drago knew that his grandfather was for his own good, and his son didn't know him as his father. Think about it, what a sad thing. In fact, Drago was also very hurt in his heart. His identity is sensitive and special, once discovered, it will cause a lot of trouble. Luffy is still young, if other people know that Luffy is his son, maybe his future will be. Not only marine, but also pirates, may all be staring at Luffy. After thinking a lot, Drago couldn't meet in the end. It's good to forget, isn't it? Grandpa. Drago laughed at himself. My father, he doesn't remember better, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble to him. When Luffy's strength cannot guarantee his safety, it is best not to expose their relationship. Not even Luffy can know. With good intentions, Drago has paid a lot for Luffy. He also thought about taking Luffy with him and letting his children follow him, but in the end he still gave Luffy to his father, and let his father and grandpa take him to live a carefree life. Following him, we lived a life of eating and sleeping in the open, with one meal and no next meal. He will be in danger at any time, even he himself doesn't know what danger he will encounter. It is possible that they are dead in the blink of an eye. It's too dangerous to let a child follow him. You have your own thoughts, Dorag, I know, Grandpa knows. Chen Qingtian knew the sadness in his grandson's heart, and comforted him. Luffy, I will watch, you don't have to worry, you want Luffy's words, you can come back anytime. Thank you, Grandpa. Drago bowed down to thank Grandpa's selfless devotion, without asking for anything in return, he has fulfilled his grandfather's duty. No, he even did what his father did. What I couldn't give to Luffy, my grandfather gave. Speaking of this, Dorag, when are you leaving? This question is very problematic. Drago, who just came back, had to face this kind of problem before he sat down to drink a cup of tea. Drago froze for a moment, staring straight at Grandpa. After a long time, Drago sighed. I plan to take a look and leave with the merchant ship. There is a time limit for the replenishment of merchant ships, and they will leave after the replenishment is completed. Here, it's just a transfer station, not a special place for sales. Generally speaking, it takes almost one morning to replenish. Are you in such a hurry? Drago nodded. Yes. He has no face to face his grandfather, and he comes and goes in a hurry. Take a look and leave. Too anxious. Are you really not saying hello? No, Grandpa. Luffy misses you, Dorag. Grandpa, you know me. Drago smiled wryly, he wanted to meet his son, but in the end, he held back. For the sake of the child, he can only meet again later. Actually, there is nothing to be afraid of. Luffy is still young and doesn't know your identity. You don't have to worry at all. Drago shook his head. Forget it, Grandpa, I'll just watch from afar. Drago insisted on his own ideas, not to look at, not to touch. Endure. If you have anything to say, I will talk about it later. On the mountain peak, the three climbed to the top, then jumped down and continued to practice. Drago stood in the distance, looking at the backs of the three of them, he couldn't help showing a smile. Drago, who hadn't smiled for a long time, looked at his son's figure and smiled at this moment. Grandpa, I will leave Luffy to you from now on. After Dorag finished speaking, he took 2 steps back and bowed. Bowing deeply, he has nothing to repay, he can only bow to his grandfather. Grandpa, thank you. Thanks from the bottom of my heart, Dorag really respects Grandpa. He did everything he could. He who was supposed to provide for the elderly had to help him take care of his children. It's very hard. It must be very tiring to take care of 3 children, who are not worry-free. The more he thought about it, Dorag felt the greater his grandfather. Go, Drago. Chen Qingtian waved. Go for your dreams, don't be afraid of failure, don't be afraid of difficulties, go all the way. Even if there are difficulties and obstacles ahead, you must go on firmly. Yes, Grandpa. Drago turned around and left resolutely. Looking at the back of his grandson Drago, and then looking back at the carefree 3 cubs, Chen Qingtian couldn't help sighing. The young eagles will eventually fly, and they will be the same in the future. For their dreams, they will spare no effort to forge ahead. They are all the same, it is impossible to stay in this place for long. When you grow up, it's time to venture out. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. One day, the 3 of them finished practicing, and they, who were familiar with the process, got up early to practice. Climbing the mountain, how many laps a day, after climbing, sneaked away. Chen Qingtian doesn't take care of their free time, and he doesn't bother to take care of it. Just do your own thing. The 3 little ones left the mountain, entered the forest, and walked forward. From the looks of it, the destination is clear. Ace. Are we there yet? Luffy is curious about the surrounding environment, looking for interesting people or things, strange environment, everything around. For Luffy, it is fun. Curious baby Luffy looks left, looks right, touch this, touch that, touch everything. It's like ADHD in children. If you don't touch it, you will feel uncomfortable all over. Keep the fun toys, throw away the bad ones. After the age of playing with toys, Luffy picked up a stick and waved it around. Like Sabo and Ace, dance yourself. Ugly posture is ugly, Luffy doesn't care. After a play, Luffy jumped onto the garbage dump and looked into the distance. The 3 of them stood together and looked forward. Seemingly looking for something, they stared at each other in front of each other, and Luffy stared blankly for a long time, but saw nothing. Ace, Sabo. What are you looking at? Keep twisting your head, ask this, ask that. Luffy can't wait for the 2 of them to tell him immediately, what's ahead, is there something delicious? Or if there was something fun, he couldn't hold back his lively heart, and wished he could go there immediately to play. Strange things always attract him. Ace didn't answer Luffy, staring quietly ahead. His eyes fell on the front of the rubbish dumps, and several figures appeared in front of the rubbish dumps. Ace and Sabo quickly jumped down to cover their bodies. The 2 leaned against the garbage pile, took a deep breath, and turned around to find that one person was missing. Looking up, the 2 of them thumped inwardly. Ruined. Ace jumped up and pushed Luffy down. Ace. What are you doing? Shish, be quiet, Luffy, be quiet. The restless Luffy broke free several times and was held down by 2 big brothers, unable to move. His small mouth pouted, very unhappy. It was fun to watch, but was pressed down by the 2 of them. After waiting for a while, there was no movement. Ace and Sabo breathed a sigh of relief, and the 2 of them sneaked out their heads to observe the front carefully. Nobody came, they weren't found, it's okay, it's okay. The situation is safe, and they are not in danger for the time being. Luffy broke free from the restraints of the 2, put his hands on his hips and said, Ace, Sabo, what are you 2 doing? I'm very sad. It was really uncomfortable to be held down, and the 2 pressed Luffy in order to avoid accidents. Luffy is too good at doing things. When encountering something, jump on it first, don't care about it, it will be over if you are reckless. A reckless man never cares about other factors when doing things. Do you know that what you did just now is very dangerous, Luffy? Sabo said seriously. This place is very dangerous, there are many pirates, they are not ordinary people, nor ordinary people. Since you came with us, you must listen to us, Luffy. Ace accuses, Luffy, stop making trouble. The 2 big brothers didn't let themselves mess around. Luffy pouted, sullen. He wants to play, but the big brothers are too cautious. Scared, timid, afraid to look ahead. He really wanted to see it, but it seemed impossible. Ace saw through Luffy's mind at a glance, and said, Luffy, don't think about going there, without us leading the way, you'd better not go there by yourself. It's dangerous over there, Luffy, be obedient and don't make trouble. Sabo and Ace were convinced, and it was not a wise choice to bring Luffy out. Sure enough. I will follow my mind to do it, and never think about the consequences. While the 3 were talking, a group of people approached quietly. They surrounded the surrounding area, compressing the encirclement step by step. Brother, I saw a child nearby just now. The kid seems to be playing alone, brother, hee. Catch him. Ask his family, we can be cool for a while. Be careful, that kid can't be killed, he has to be captured alive. Children are very valuable, and you can make a lot of money if you sell them. Haha, brother, we understand. The elder brother and the younger brothers approached together, and they stared at Luffy. Children appearing in this place are obviously either playful or orphans. Either way, they like it. Children are money, and if they are sold, they can earn money for a meal of wine, which is enough for them to be chic. To catch children, the loss is the lowest, and the risk is almost zero. It is much more reliable than catching pirates. Besides, there are no famous pirates on this island. A famous pirate would not stay in this kind of place. They may not be able to fight well, they can only bully the weak. This piece of rubbish is their territory. Every group of pirates and gangsters has their own territory, and they rely on their strong strength to snatch it back. There are several small forces on a small island, which seem to have nothing to do with each other. Once they fight, they should not be underestimated. They didn't dare to go to towns to make troubles. After all, the towns were well protected. If they went there, they would be killed. Several people surrounded. The sharp-eyed pirates saw Luffy's head and jumped up and down. They are secretive and have nowhere to hide. Brother, I found it. I found him, big brother, happy event. There are 3, not a child. Haha, 3 children, it really doesn't take much effort, brothers, give it to me. The eldest brother was very happy, and if he caught the 3 children at once, their strength would increase very quickly. Recruit people, or choose to sell. There is a third option, kill him. Ace and Sabo, who were hiding, smelled the movement, and they quickly pulled Luffy away. But at this moment, they are too late, surrounded. The hooligans who surrounded them held weapons, including swords, guns, swords and halberds. Count them, there are more than a dozen of them. They are wretched and thin, with a faint breath of blood on their bodies. The elder brother who took the lead was walking in a hurry, walking in front, with 2 strands of beard hanging on his sturdy face. He stroked the beard, stared at the 3 of Luffy. His small eyes were like mouse eyes, aiming at random. Looking around, his eyes are very wretched. A group of wretched people, rats on the island, specializing in dirty things. The eldest brother looked at the 3 of Luffy, his eyes changed several times, and his complexion changed accordingly. Ha ha ha. God is still attached to me and sent me 3 children. He looked up to the sky and laughed, thanking God. Hey, kids, are you lost? Kind regards, wretched smile. Luffy pouted. What's none of your business? The boss was choked, he didn't expect this brat to be so arrogant. Surrounded, I still don't know how to bow my head. Slap. The boss applauded. Very good, boy, you are very brave. I want to know who gave you the courage? Raising their hands, the brothers around them took a step forward, and the powerful momentum came oppressively. Arms raised, exerting tremendous pressure. Ace and Sabo frowned, they pulled Luffy and put Luffy behind their backs. Ace, Sabo, I don't want to be behind, we are not afraid of them. Luffy said arrogantly, it's just a few gangsters, leave them to me. Luffy patted his chest, swearing. It's just a few punks, he can handle it by himself, there is no need for Ace and the others to do it. Ace and Sabo frowned. Luffy's words were too loud and were heard by those bastards. They are children. Although they have been trained and their strength has improved in all aspects, they are still invincible compared to adults. What's more, these pirates who have killed people, their leader may be a pirate who came back from the sea, and they have done many evil things. There was a faint smell of blood on these people. Luffy, stop talking nonsense. Ace berated Luffy, don't let him talk nonsense. If you're not at home now, it doesn't matter what you say. Sabo covered Luffy's mouth to keep him from talking. In case he waits for some horrible words to burst out, it will be bad when the time comes. Hearing this, the head of the pirate laughed loudly, ha ha ha. Boy, you are very courageous, not bad, come on, Lousy will give you a chance, you can pick anyone to fight. If you win, Lousy allows you to leave, the topic changed. If you lose, you kid will let Lousy deal with it, how about it? All the subordinates around have a little bit of strength. They can't beat powerful pirates, but a child, if they can't beat them, stop being a bastard and go home to plow the fields and raise pigs. The punks behind laughed and laughed at Luffy's overreaching. Luffy was so pissed off, they underestimated themselves, it didn't make sense. Sabo, let me go, I want to let them know how good I am. Inflated Luffy, fears no one. In his eyes, only Grandpa and Great-Grandpa are the most terrifying, and the others are nothing more than that. Sabo held Luffy down, not letting him go out. The enemy is aggressive, Luffy, don't be fooled. Sabo, trust me. Luffy pushes Sabo away, walks past Ace, Ace intercepts, it doesn't work, he pushes him away. Going out, Luffy pointed at the pirate boss and said, I'm going to challenge all of you. Hockey side leaked. At this moment, Luffy's arrogance blossomed. This sentence shocked everyone. including Ace and Sabo. The two stared at Luffy in disbelief. Ace trembling hands. Sabo. Oh my god. Something big is going to happen. Luffy, he pretended to be like his grandpa. You don't learn the good ones, and you learn all the bad ones. The problem is that you have to have the strength of your great-grandfather. Pretend without strength is purely courting death. It's over, Luffy. Sabo, the three of us are going to be miserable. Ace. Wait until you get a chance and run. Luffy is too good at messing things up. Next time, don't take him out. The two of them agreed. Luffy, it's better to stay at home and not come out. In order not to cause trouble, the two of them can't bear it. Ha ha ha? What is he talking about? Challenge us all? That's the funniest joke I've heard in years. Ha ha, even a little boy dares to act presumptuously in front of us. Boss, I can't bear it, let me come. A punk steps out, unarmed, staring at little Luffy. The body types of the two are not on the same level. The punk is tall and tall, much taller than ordinary people. He is burly and muscular, and he usually exercises his muscles a lot. In front of him, Luffy is like a puppy in front of an elephant, humble and weak. Go ahead, don't kill him, just cripple him. No problem, boss. With the permission of the boss, he came out waving his fists. Condescending, defying Luffy. Hey boy, are you ready for sanction? That attitude completely looked down on the three of Luffy. Come on, boy, lousy gives you 3 punches. When adults beat children, it's just for fun. He couldn't even bring up the desire to fight, he just had a playful mentality, and the other gangsters saw this and booed beside him. Crying and fighting, they wanted to see Luffy being beaten and crying. Sabo and Ace came out to help Luffy carry it together, but Luffy refused. Ace, Sabo, you don't need to shoot, I can defeat them by myself. You watch my performance carefully, and within a quarter of an hour, they will all fall down. Luffy is full of confidence, but he doesn't know who gave him the courage. Make a fist and exert strength. His eyes fell on the big fool, and he taunted. Hey, big fool, are you ready? I'm getting F***ked, are you ready to die? Haha. The burly gangster was not only not angry, but excited when he was called stupid. Little guy, I hope you can still laugh later. Let the venue out. Give them 2 to fight, and the others, to watch. Ace and Sabo are nervously watching the battle ahead. Luffy is too confident, he will stumble. Sabo, wait and prepare to shoot. I know, Ace, when the time comes, I'll take Luffy away, and you're dead. No problem. Ace looked at Luffy with a serious face. Little brother, are you too confident in yourself? The battle is on the verge of breaking out. The stupid big man asked Luffy to punch 3 times, and instead of attacking first, let Luffy attack. Forced Luffy to punch, this punch hit the head. Whether it hurts or not, he shook his head and said disdainfully, little guy, is that all? The strength is not strong, stronger than ordinary children, even, comparable to ordinary adults. That's all, his muscles are able to defend against stronger forces. Luffy's strength, how should I put it, can't even break through his defense. The strength of the two is vastly different. It doesn't count to tickle me, haven't you eaten? Work harder. Encouraging Luffy to continue attacking, Luffy roared and increased his strength. The output depends entirely on roar. Rubber. With a kick, it hit the silly big man's chest. The silly big man acted as if nothing happened, and said with a smile, go on, little guy, this attack is not bad. The result is still the same, the defense is not broken. Like playing, it's not challenging. Luffy was stunned, he didn't expect that his attack was useless, the big fool's defense was so strong that he couldn't break through it. Damn it, I don't believe it. Luffy, whose self-confidence was hit, was unwilling to accept the result. Get ready for the third attack, charge up. Concentrating all the strength on one punch, Luffy ran, increasing the power of the attack. Fall down. One punch hard, the third punch. Also Luffy's strongest punch. Dignity, confidence, packs all his punches. Hit the target accurately and make a booming sound. Smoke and dust rose everywhere, and then, Luffy was blasted out. Rolled 3 times on the ground, and finally lay on the ground, spitting blood. He stood up tremblingly, staring ahead. After the smoke and dust cleared, the stupid big man stood there like a normal person, waved and smiled at Luffy. Little guy, you can't do it, with this strength, even Lousy's defense can't be broken, and you want to challenge all of us, I want to ask, who gave you the courage? Luffy. Spitting out blood doesn't make Luffy slump. It's just blood, I'm used to spitting it up. In his heart, he measured the strength of the person in front of him, and his defense ability was strong. It was difficult for his own strength to break through his defense, so he needed to find his weakness. The neck is one of the most vulnerable places of human beings. Generally speaking, the neck upwards is a fatal place. With 3 punches in a row, all of them hit the chest. Luffy had to change his strategy and couldn't attack one place recklessly. Ace and Sabo are vigilant to the people around them. Those people are ready to move. It seems that they want to intervene. The wretched gangster boss will strike at any time, and the two will not intervene in Luffy's battle, and they will not act rashly unless it is absolutely necessary. Once you make a move, it means that the battle will start, and these people in front of you don't intend to let them go. Ace and Sabo looked at each other. They didn't say anything, but they seemed to have said everything. The two nodded, confirmed each other's thoughts, restrained their restless hearts, and waited for the opportunity to come. The wretched eyes of the gangster boss in front kept shooting at the 3 of them. The 3 little ones are not bad, but their courage is commendable. Even more courageous, they even came to their own territory. Did they think this was their home, and they could come and leave whenever they wanted? Waving his hand, he motioned for the little brother beside him to come over, and he leaned into his ear and said, "Wait a while and find a chance to catch those 2 people. Don't give them a chance to escape, let the brothers cheer up." The younger brother nodded wisely. "Understood, boss." The order went on, and they stared at Ace and the others, encircling them, shrinking even tighter. Flaws, all covered up. This move made Ace anxious. Sabo asked in a low voice, "Ace, they seem to have reacted." Ace muttered softly, "I know, Sabo, stop talking, wait for them to react. Wait for the opportunity. Luffy should give them a chance." The big fool hooked his hand and said contemptuously, "Little guy, can't you do it? The arrogant Luffy will not just fall down." He said disdainfully, "Hee, I just gave you the chance to escape. Since you don't cherish it, don't blame me for not giving you the chance." Luffy looked around, his eyes swept over all the gangsters. Those contemptuous eyes did not take everyone seriously. At this moment, Luffy is like an extremely lonely master, invincible all over the world. You, and you, all of you, are trash. Sorry, everyone here is rubbish. Hit me if you have the ability. I, Luffy, have never been afraid of trouble. The big, veiny guy stared at Luffy and clenched his fists. Rubbish? I'm rubbish, we are all trash? How dare he insult us? It makes no sense. Kill him. Little guy, court death. Brothers, copy guys. Lousy wants to kill him, otherwise he won't be able to swallow this breath. Damn bastard, I had to kill him. A group of gangsters have a bad temper and are ridiculed. They don't want to stay any longer. Get in the fight and teach Luffy a lesson. Arrogant people have to pay the price. The big silly man raised his hand and said, "Little guy, you've pissed me off." Clenching a fist, exerting strength, the bones creaked. Instead of defending, he turned to attack. "Little guy, don't die. Charge, very fast." One punch condensed the hard work of the silly big man over the years. This punch, 10 years of skill, can you bear it? Luffy opened his hands, making fists and stretching them behind his back. The arms became longer, and his devil fruit ability was displayed, and the people present were shocked. The idiot's pupils constricted, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Demon fruit power. The gangster boss was also shocked by it. He didn't expect to see demon fruit power here, which is extremely rare. He turned out to be demon fruit power. How is it possible? I can't help but envy Luffy's luck. He was lucky to get a devil fruit. They couldn't afford even the cheapest devil fruit. Even if you have the money to buy it, you may not be able to eat it alive. Those who can. He is capable. Brothers, let's go together. Kill him. The gangster boss couldn't continue to watch the show, so he waved his hand and motioned for the brothers to come along. When you meet a capable person, you can't underestimate it. Don't underestimate him just because he is a child. Devil Fruit's abilities are weird and hard to guard against. Superior. If you can't survive, then kill. In one sentence, it represented his murderous intention. The killing intent has been decided. There can be no accidents, those with abilities need to be taken care of. Ace and Sabo, who were watching the play, did not expect that they would do something suddenly, and they rushed to help Luffy. For a while, the battle broke out, and the scene was chaotic. Luffy, being surrounded, the attack of the big fool came oncoming. Little guy, you are finished. Boom. One punch, and Luffy flies out. Focusing on the fighting Luffy, dealing with the punks around him, he didn't notice the attack of the big fool. A careless, took a punch. Luffy spat out a mouthful of blood, got up, used the properties of rubber, and returned to Ace. The 3 joined together, back to back, bitter Ace staring at the punks around him. There are more than a dozen of them, all of which are not weak. Luffy, Sabo, wait until you find an opportunity to break through, don't hesitate. When the real battle comes, they must be cautious. Sabo nodded. I'm fine, Luffy, don't mess around. Ace warned Luffy emphatically. Luffy, follow orders and don't mess around. Luffy pouted. I know. His eyes were fixed on the big fool, and he suffered twice, and Luffy couldn't make it easier for them. Just an injury, a minor problem. Rubber Fruit was not afraid of punches and kicks, and hit him, just like that. The sword should be avoided, not to be cut. Little guy, are you scared? The silly big guy appeared in front of Luffy, provoking Luffy, and he attacked one after another. The three of Luffy took turns to meet the attack, and Ace and Sabo could deal with it normally. It's better to hit one person, but you have to face more than a dozen, and there is a wretched boss who hasn't made a move yet. Observing Luffy's ability from the side, he watched for a while, and seemed to see through Luffy's ability. Paramecia Devil Fruit, not Logia Devil Fruit, nothing to be afraid of. Rubber power? If so, we're bound to win. Don't interfere, just watch quietly. Waiting for the opportunity to sneak attack, among the three little ones, Sabo and Ace are the strongest. Handling their siege with ease, Luffy is the weakest among them, relying on Devil Fruit to withstand a lot of attacks. Ordinary punches and kicks have limited effect on Luffy, unless your attack power is strong enough to break Luffy's limit. The battle lasted for half an hour. Many people were injured, and the gangsters were beaten dizzy. The three of Luffy, who adapted to the fighting atmosphere, fought more and more happily. Their combat experience has gradually enriched, and the three of them have good talents, and they comprehend it on the spot.